Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Corner Flag Talk Podcast. It's your boy John. We're here to discuss the latest in football. So some of you will obviously be watching this on YouTube. Some of you guys will be listening on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your pods. And before we get into it, we promise that it's going to be a good episode. And we really, really do encourage you guys if you could just share with one person. Um, the YouTube, honestly, like I said, I do if you do, I could probably do it in the podcast notes. I want to try to put timestamps for you guys so that you can get for the specific games if you just come to listen to them, and that's completely fine. Uh, y'all will see now. This is my notes. This is literally just about the Arsenal game because we have a lot to talk about. And with that being said, honestly, this is like a one in a million weekend in the Premier League, the amount of things that happen, right? So, quick disclaimer, we really gonna just talk about the Prem mostly. We may touch on the Classic in the end and also about a potential Jude Bellingham injury or stuff, but that could be kind of like more as a side to the end. So, that being said, introduce the guys we have on here today. So, first I have Virgil. Uzi, what's good, my guy?
So yeah, tired, but football don't sleep. And
Definitely doesn't sleep. Then we have
yes.
Daniel. Pat, was he good?
Um, Hold on. I'll bring my thing ready to listen to you. All right, I'll show the audience. I have this one, and I have an next one too. I have this one. So if I see taking things during the thing, you just know that John doing too much. And then if it get real bad, I have this one. There's a cream. So it have topical treatment as well. So I'm prepared and I ready to go. Brandon, how you going? What's it good, my guy?
Brandon.
Hold on, I check it. I check in VR. VR check going on right
Yes,
now,
yes,
and
yes, yes.
Patrick is out of pocket. That's what it's here on the screen here.
Yes. Yes.
Hey, before I forget, when remind me about a thing in rugby for VAR when we reach some kind of VAR discussion because
I know exactly what you're talking about. Don't worry, I'll remind you.
yeah, I would like if y'all would like to see that in football. Anyway, so right, so um, we're gonna get into it, right, guys? Obviously, Arsenal Newcastle happened on Saturday, right? And either way, I told myself we was gonna come here today and we'd discuss that. At least not first. Genuinely, actually would have liked to discuss that last. Um, because I was like, dog Spurs Chelsea is the game for the weekend that people are card anyway. And that was the whole reason that we pushed the pod till Monday night so that you guys will be not listening to this on Tuesday morning. And I was like, I really do hope though that something happened in the Chelsea Spurs game that is not standard, is not just well, that was expected, something like that to really entertain us and give us plenty talking points. And Spurs Chelsea saw the Arsenal Newcastle game. I was like, you know what? Hold my beer, bro. And they just went all out on this Monday night of football. So that being said, you guys will obviously know by now that Chelsea won 4 goals to 1 at White Hart Lane. For those of you who don't know, since Ange Postecoglou has touched European football, he had not lost a home game until today, where Spurs also lost the undefeated streak as an Arsenal this weekend. And 4-1, they went ahead in the first 10 minutes via a deflection from Kulusevski. And it looked early on like, Spurs were clicking and Chelsea were yet to get to grips with the game. And since the goal, Chelsea really turned it on. And first half, I was really, really impressed with how Chelsea responded to going behind, putting the pressure on Spurs, and forcing their defenders to show weaknesses in areas that I have highlighted before. And I know some of these guys here had concerns as well. There was a Madison injury along the way. There was a Romero red card. Who could have guessed it as he gave away a penalty as Cole Palmer scores his third pen for Chelsea Football Club. And the next sending off was in the next half when Udogi got a second yellow for. To be fair, he shouldn't have been on the field to begin with. But yeah, he got a second yellow. Chelsea now are 9 men ahead. And as we saw when Liverpool were 9 men down to Spurs, it's not the easiest to score against 9 men. However, Chelsea really did really did try to make it as difficult as possible. And eventually went 2-1 up, gave up some chances, and in the end, Jackson got his second and third in order to make it a 4-1 game. So it'll be at a service if I don't start anywhere else than with Brandon. Brandon, as the paradox of this podcast, because he's a Chelsea fan, but he's a Chelsea hater at the same time, and you had to hold that result today. What was your thoughts on the game?
Well, if I had to put it in one word, I really can't because there are too many words to describe what happened here. Like I literally have a list of things here and this is so listen to this. Kulusevski scores. Son disallowed goal. Udogi avoids red card. Romero kicks Colwell. Sterling goal disallowed for handball. Caicedo goal disallowed for offside.
Right.
VAR
Bar
was
was
Chelsea
Chelsea.
a pen. Romero sent off. Palmer equalizes. Madison and Van de Ven substituted. Reece James avoids red card for elbow on Udogi, and that's just the first half. So, in terms of what everybody was watching, I don't know how to describe that other than chaotic. The game, the game had. This is one of those games where it literally had everything. Like there was nothing this game didn't have. It had 4 goals. It had a red card. It had red cards. It had VAR checks by the minute. I firmly believe that we were watching sitting down for like 2 hours and 10 minutes watching football. Like it literally felt like that. But in terms of the game though, and this is the only way I could put it here, everything that could have gone wrong for Spurs today went absolutely and diabolically wrong. They lost their 2 centre backs. They lost their signing of the season, who is the man that they've been doing everything through. They they gave away 2 red cards. They gave away a pen. They were playing with 9 men for essentially like the last 35 minutes of the game, and it inevitably just crumbled in front of everybody's eyes. I don't know how Vicario was able to continue to keep them in the game for as long as he did because he made at least 3 top quality saves that denied Chelsea to score. And it took Chelsea like a good 25 minutes to understand and remember, hey, offside is actually a rule in football. And when they figured that out, that's when Jackson just came out and scored a hat trick. And it's chaotic, bro. There's no other way to describe it than chaotic. Even the Chelsea attack from the 9 men go forward, chaotic. You just didn't know what to expect. You was just watching it, waiting for things to happen. And as a Chelsea fan, I real happy that we got 3 points because Spurs, when these kind of things happen, you have no choice but to win the game. Most of the things are out of our control, and what we could have control, we did, and we took 3 points. So I mean, I can't even say anything about the performance because there's nothing really to analyze. It's just like Spurs just capitulated, and for the first time, they actually look like Spurs. They actually look like Spurs today.
That's
That's
true.
that's basically everything about the game today.
Yeah, and I think we saw a lot of concerns that some people had come home to roost with Spurs this weekend. Like to be fair to him, Romero has been having a very calm season by his standards, but he was extremely out of pocket today. It was reflected in the fact that he got his cards. Madison has had injury problems to play basically his entire Premier League career. He went off injured, and Romero, to me, who has been the real star of their backline, with his ability to recover in behind, pulls his
Talking about Van de
hamstring.
Ven.
You mean Van de Ven?
Talking about
What?
Van de Ven.
What's it?
Yes, I remember.
Yeah.
But you meant
Oh
Van de
yeah,
Ven, right?
I'm in
Yeah.
one of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
most likely.
He pulled his hamstring trying to run back far ball, which has been his superpower. And as I said, it all went wrong. We saw some of the defensive deficiencies from their defenders in some of the fouls because, like, even Porro had some bad tackles. Obviously, Udogi went off. Udogi should have gone off in the first half. That was a red when he got the yellow, in my opinion. I know Brandon feels the same. I'll let you guys comment just on to say if you all feel the same way. And it what about it did feel Spurs-y to me though was the fact that after they scored and Chelsea just turned up the heat a little bit. And the first half is where I really felt encouraged about Chelsea. They turned up the heat a little bit and then Spurs just capitulated. Like until they got the penalty and they scored and they actually gave it, right? It had like 2 disallowed goals before that, a penalty shot before that. a bunch of series of bad decisions, and this is a Chelsea side that, as we learned in the second half, they don't have it all put together. They don't, and Spurs were threatening the highlight second half, and we saw that they took a while to get grips to how they could actually attack this back line. And yet, when it was 11v11, after Spurs scored and had a great start, Chelsea just had them on the back foot. So, yeah, Patrick, thoughts?
Okay. I agree with almost everything that you all said. I just think that it wasn't that Spursy. I think everybody knew that Spurs wasn't going to win the league. They had to lose games at some point. But I think that I think in the first half they maintained their identity, which is they are a attack heavy team. So I'm not going to fault an attack heavy team with Romero in the back line and wing backs rather than actual fullbacks for conceding a couple goals, I don't think that was Spursy at all. I don't really think they bottled it either. I was really hoping that when Spurs does eventually lose, because they were going to lose at some point, that would have been more within their control. But, unlucky injuries. I mean, Madison is a big one. Van der Ven is a big one. Red card in the first half. Could have been 2 red cards in the first half. I just really think that all that is within their control. I think, yes, Ange hasn't lost home games, but this was way out of his hands. You don't prepare to play 9v11. I think it was an interesting game to watch. I think there are positives and negatives on both ends that I'm sure we're going to dive into at some point. So I'm not going to, bring them to the surface as yet. But I just really, to me, it wasn't that Spursy. Actually, I think if I was Ange, I would be more happy than Poch because 4-1 looks great, right? But there was a lot wrong that happened with Chelsea there. At some point, Chelsea somehow let a 9-man offensive trap get to them. I've never even seen that in my life. What is that?
Well,
9 guys on the halfway line, and they
the,
can't deal with that.
the part that to me felt Spursy was
Mhm.
when it was still 11v11. And that they
Right, but that was
had.
saying though.
No, well, obviously it's an extremely small sample space. And after that, yeah, dog, nothing in his control beyond there because it has the injuries and the red cards and stuff. And even beyond that, when they went to 9 men, yeah, I would be very proud of how they played too because they went to 9 men, and when Liverpool were down to 9, it was about the 75th minute, I believe it was. So it was just about
Mhm.
15, possibly to 25 minutes. I think it ended up being about 25 minutes that they had to actually last with the 9 men, right? These guys had to do it for essentially a whole half.
Yeah,
And what they did without going to a deep block and still trying to maintain some attacking integrity, yeah, I do think that is something he should be very proud of.
and they scored with 9 men too, eh? Like it was ruled off, but they scored. If you remember, Dyer scored and
Bro, that
they
was
took it
an
away.
insane finish.
Also,
That's quality.
yeah, but also when it was 11v11, I know we talk about Chelsea having the ball in the back of the net twice at 11v11, and both goals were taken off for I don't know whatever reason. I think offsides both times,
One was
or a handball one
handball.
time, a handball, and then an offside. Spurs had the ball in the back of the net twice as well, which I think if we had mentioned that, it would have changed how the image looked because
In the first
2-2
half.
looks better. Son score like
Yeah,
immediately
the Son
after
one was offside.
Right.
Kulusevski
Yeah.
score.
Right. I know
Yeah,
that.
and
Where the second one?
and then Kulusevski actually scored. The ball went in the back of the net twice.
Oh, you meant.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying that they had 2 disallowed goals in the first half.
No. The ball went in the back of the net the same amount of times on both ends at 11v11. I really don't think that it's Spursy, dog. I think, remember, Spurs' identity is attack first, and we will figure it out on the defensive end. Over the
So you
last,
don't
like,
think
three,
then,
4 weeks.
given what
Mm-hmm.
we've seen from both teams so far this season, then that
Yeah.
given that at least for again the sample size is so small because of how many variables changed in this game and how fast it did, right? But given what we've seen so far this season from Chelsea and from Spurs, for Chelsea to even be in a position where you felt like they weren't just on top, but they were getting to them, you don't
Right.
find like that should be somewhat concerning because until this point, Chelsea hasn't touched the top half of the table. This win is what
That's
puts
true.
them in the top half. You know that that is now, to be fair, I am saying this as somebody who has been saying that there would be some coming on to earth with how Spurs do play, right? So it's not a case of like if it is necessarily surprising, but I don't think it should be all down to the fact that all the variables that did go out of their way. You know, like
Mhm.
it those things did happen, and they made it like it stamped its authority onto the game. How bad those things? Okay, you lost your chief creator, you lost your two centre backs, and you went down to 10 men. You know that is almost as bad as it could have possibly been. The only thing that worse could have happened today is if Son had get injured. You know,
Yeah.
it was totally out of his control. I'm not saying no, but for the again extremely small period that was still 11v11, that was about 25 minutes. I think a greater part of that 25 minutes, Chelsea seemed to have been having them on the back foot.
Yeah. I could agree with that. I think it was probably like 15 minutes for Chelsea, about 10 minutes
Yeah,
for
right.
Spurs. If I had to
And
count who
again, right,
was,
is extremely small sample space. So 25 minutes is nothing in the grand scheme of football, right? But like I think then again, given where Chelsea are this season, where Spurs have done so well to put themselves in, it shouldn't have be a case where Chelsea could have put them on the back for the way that they did.
yes, but I mean, momentum does swing too. I don't know. I think I just find it a little harsh, but I get where you're coming from, though. I just think it's harsh to say Spurs do our Spurs from this game. Like, I would hold my hands up and say Spurs bottle it if, they do.
I don't
Like, if they
I,
have a terrible game.
no, well,
But,
as Brandon say, right, is that they look Spursy. It's not that they did a Spurs like across the whole game. I wouldn't say that. You
okay.
know, because again,
Okay.
across the whole game, given all the difficulties that they came up against, I think it was a really good performance because they did well, and they did well to the point that wasn't it like the 85th minute or something that Son had a chance to score, and we could have been looking at this finish at
Yeah.
2-all. You know,
Yeah, or
like that.
if Dyer, because if this Sassy touches the ball, then
Yeah,
Dyer goal stands.
Yeah.
yeah.
So like
And I think
that
that's what
game
they
could
was
have
actually
been,
looking
yeah.
for. So yeah,
So no, that's
okay.
a whole next thing.
No, we're gonna get into individual stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So Virgil, you have any closing thoughts before we get into a little bit more nitty gritty about it?
Yeah, all I'll say is everything that Patrick's saying. I agree with what Patrick's saying because when you're looking at this, the score line does not tell the story. Honestly, I feel like honestly after I think we'll see whenever the second goal came for Chelsea, I feel like everything
Mhm.
else after that, Spurs should not really have any concerns about that. That is we just went from a chaotic game going completely bizarre and everything else after that. I feel like nobody could really. And I really feel like from this game, if you're looking at both parties honestly could find something positive from it because you could look at that and say, well, Chelsea really trying to take anything positive right now, and this is a big 3 points for Chelsea. Obviously players scoring the ball when they back in net, a lot of players will have confidence. That's good for Chelsea, even for Spurs being down to 9 men, Spurs was still showing a fighting spirit, and I feel like they could really take that in to the coming games. The only unfortunate part is they don't really have those players that we mentioned that they have that who have red cards and who have injuries when they go into a tough Molino ground against Wolves because we saw Wolves are very
Mm-hmm.
very tricky this season, and then after that Aston Villa, and all those 2 games before they play City.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
that's the only problem. That's stuff that Ange have to really focus on right now. That's the long term problem. But based on this game, 4-1 don't really tell the full story. Honestly, it looks good on the scoreline, but nah.
yeah.
Oh,
No,
that good
Good
talking of
talking
Virgil
over you.
because they had to go to Molyneux with 3, possibly 4
Yeah,
new
exactly.
guys to the because Vicario had an injury at the end of the game.
no.
Nobody
Well, then you're
knows
looking
what.
at five. Then that's
No, Porro
possibly
going to
five.
play.
No, because Udogi out
Yeah, we don't
and
get out.
Romero out
Uh-huh.
for sure, right? And then we
And
Yeah.
do, and then Madison and Van de
No,
Ven
Van
come
de Ven
off,
is out. Van de
yeah,
Ven is out
Van
for
de Ven
sure as
out
well.
for that game.
right? And Madison, so that's four. And then depending
Yeah,
on what Vicario
No, I
state
said the
is,
back line. The back line.
sorry, I thought you
yeah,
meant in general.
Yeah.
My bad, sorry.
But yeah, Madison, yeah, we don't know what gonna happen there. So yeah, I just it might not
And
be easy
and,
next couple
and
of
there's a
weeks.
Wolves side that has that is smack mid table for goals scored this season, and they have had a lot of attacking impetus. Obviously, they're gonna go into that game without Pedro Neto, but let's focus on the teams a little bit more individually. So Spurs
Hmm.
again, they started the game really brightly, via again a deflection from Kulusevski. They went ahead. Positives to come out of this for Spurs, and who wants to go first? Anybody? Patrick, I feel like you was leading the trainer. Do you want to finish it?
I think it have no positives. Because look, they okay. Maybe one positive is they managed to stay organized. They show a lot of spirit, a lot of will, desire. Okay, that's great. Um, they they definitely lose 3 players for the next 3 games at least. Van de Ven, honestly, that could have been an avulsion, which is like that could have been an aggressive tear, which could be like 6, 7 months. I mean, it did not look good. Like he was on full sprint. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he pulled
Normally,
right up.
when you're
Yeah,
that open and you pull a hamstring, that's a long injury. So he could be out for quite some time, most likely a surgery. Who knows? But the way he looked, it didn't look good.
can I
So
say like the little
that
saving grace that they might have without him, while with the other injury concerns would be that they play Wolves weekend, but after that is international break.
yeah. So I think Madison will be fine. I mean, Madison injury didn't even look like anything. He didn't even roll it ankle. That was so weird. You know.
Right.
Um, But then also I saw the commentator mentioned that they might have taken him off just because he might not have been able to run like at 100%, but not
Yeah, given
necessarily
that they
injured.
won 10
Mhm.
You see
minutes.
what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
That's
So
true.
so that could have been the case. I don't really know, but I think it have way more negatives than positives to come out of this. I think Ange have a big headache
Yeah, that's one
on his
thing.
hands now. So yeah, I feel bad
Um,
for them though.
Vicario, Vicario to me is a little stock horizon too, because like he
Yeah, boy.
obviously, like we know, like he's had the most saves in the Premier League so far this season, but amidst a backline that changed heavily throughout this game, he's done really well, and it's
Yeah,
not just the saves but the quickness to come off his line. That
yeah, he is
anytime
pretty
just got
fast.
in behind, he did extremely well, and I mean. I think we mentioned it before, but I'm still gonna mention it again that amongst all the signings of the seasons, like he has to be up there with it. I mean, he's
Yeah.
replaced the club captain Let be pretty frank about it. He replaced Hugo Lloris, who for all his blunders was the club captain and is a big position to take up.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm sure
cool.
he was respected within the club. So
Yeah,
forget about what we think as the fans.
yeah.
Within the club, he was probably respected. So it's not easy to take over that position.
Um, Looking forward. Okay, so we're gonna deal with a little bit of hypotheticals, right? So we know the guys who all have injuries. For Tottenham, how could we see Ange possibly dealing with this? At least get a result at the weekend before he can tinker with it across the international break. Salik.
Well, based on the game today, I personally think Hoiberg has to start the next game. I
Okay.
thought he was excellent when he came
He
on. Like
was.
I
Yeah.
know a lot of Spurs players and people who don't like Spurs have are very critical of Hoiberg, but I think he was great today. Like without Hoiberg, like Jackson doesn't miss that sitter, obviously, but
Mm-hmm.
Hoiberg just brought that tenacity that they needed for 9 men. And I mean,
Mm-hmm.
if you could lead 9 men like that, I mean, you could more than do it at 11. So I mean, looking forward, he has that. Bentancur came back and should have scored. To be honest,
Yeah.
if we're being
Yeah.
very honest.
Dog.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah.
my biggest thing for Spurs is their defense because I don't know how they're gonna navigate the defense because I mean Van der Ven and Romero have been probably arguably the most solid centre back pair in the league so far for the
Mm-hmm.
season. So I mean losing that is extremely detrimental, and also losing Udogi, like even when they lost him for the past few games, you could see the difference that he makes.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
that is also going to be a thing as well. So I mean I don't see it as much of a problem, but I mean this one game could be totally game changing for the rest of their season.
And I
Yeah.
remember
100%.
I was saying this before, like on the hot takes, it end up Spurs title credentials had come up now. Even not just talking the title credentials, but their ability to make Champions League. One of the things that we did talk about was their depth, and we don't think Madison should be out for that long if he is really out. But in the other areas, we're gonna have to see what their depth could do because we expect Ben Davies to come in. Doggy, because that's kind of what did happen against Palace. And
Would it be
honestly,
Davies? Or would
well,
it
Yeah,
be or
Davies
would it be
played against
the
Crystal
other
Palace
guy?
at left back. For that
Mm.
game, I can't say if there's another option that
Last
Setting
week
Young.
no, because they've been bringing on Royale. They brought on Royale last week.
Well,
They brought him on
all I
this
was
week
saying is
too.
who started at left back against Crystal Palace when Udogi was out. I don't know
Yeah,
if
yeah,
he'd
Okay.
be
correct.
willing to
Yeah,
play him still going
yeah,
forward.
Davies has that, yeah.
And obviously Van der Ven and Romero is two big ones. I had actually last week I had spoke about given Madison injury record, I would have liked that if he's ever not played for them to play Kulusevski more central. I don't know how all they feel about that, but that's something I would have liked. I would like to see them do, and
Mhm.
play Solomon and Brendan Johnson out wide. And honestly, I thought Brendan Johnson was really unfortunate to come up. I thought he started the game pretty well too, bro. Like I really like him. I do as a player. Cool.
Somebody have to
Chelsea.
get sacrificed, I guess. Wait, but I think we left out something though. Because if if they're losing Van de Ven, then from a tactical point of view, I think it would make a lot of sense to drop to our mid block for the next 2 or 3 games.
The
Because
thing
you
is,
can't
honestly,
play with
I
a
don't see it happening, boy. Because like
I think we had to give
anybody.
Ange more credit though.
But the thing is, those who have all those who are like written stuff about Ange coming to the Premier League is that no matter what, he constantly
Mm.
sticks to his principles of how he wants to play. No
and you saw
matter
that
what.
It,
today during the
I just saw
game.
that today, yeah. So like, I
that's cool and all, but like
honestly I
Højbjerg
don't
can't
expect it to
cover the
change.
ground of I do. We'll see. But I think Ange is not a like idiot at the same time. Like
I don't think it's about being an
Højbjerg
idiot.
can't
I think he's
cover
just
the
a
ground of
purist, you see. And he's so
Højbjerg can't do the job. Like it will literally break down because of how slow the backline will be. Diane Højbjerg can't cover the ground that Van der Ven could cover. Because if you watch it like Van der Ven and that next and Romero, they play like this. Romero's always go and then Van der Ven because he's so fast, if he needs to hoover at right back, he could reach. Or if he needs to hoover at left back, he could reach. But
unless he play
there's
Ben
no one
Davies
between
center back
Dyer
line.
and huh?
Unless he play Ben
But
Davies
Davies
center
is
back.
slow. But Davies is so slow also. Like Van der Ven is very quick.
No,
You know, have
I
you ever
know
seen
he's
him actually
ridiculously quick.
hunt down attackers?
No, I know he's ridiculously fast. I know that.
Yeah, like Davies, I don't even think his legs long enough to do that. So I think they have to drop into our mid block. See, with our mid block, that will still allow Vicario to be effective. Because anything over the top, you'd expect Vicario to get that. But it's not gonna leave a channel big enough so that you could go over the top, but Vicario can't reach. I think they will have to. I'm not saying play freaking Brexit, but they can. It has to be a mid block. It just has to be a mid block. That is just what it can't be anything. I can't see anything else working. You know what I mean? And then Bissouma gonna have to be a little bit more like turned on defensively as well,
Yeah,
but
that's
he isn't. You know what I mean? It will have to change for like the next at least 2 or 3 games until at least Romero come back.
The thing is, I'm not disagreeing with if it should change. I
Mhm.
just think it's really unlikely that he does change it because from everything that I have read about him and learned about him, is that he seems to be somebody who is wants to stick to exactly how he wants to play, no matter the circumstances. But
So if
that is
if
something
if
that
you
we
all
would
were
just
Ange,
see. It no, but that's what I said. If it was me, I would do something
what would
different.
you
But
do?
I would do exactly what you say. I would go to a mid block. But that is
Would
not
you play five
something
at the
that
back?
what? I said I'll play a
Would
mid
you
block.
play five at the back? Yeah, but mid block doesn't say the formation. I was asking if you would play five at the back. Would
No,
you
I wouldn't
consider
play
that?
five at the back. I wouldn't do that.
How come?
I don't think it because I mean it depends on how bad the injuries is, right? And I mean if it is just Wolves and Aston Villa after the international break, then I think they can still play the back four. Even if like depending on how bad Van der Ven injury is, if he comes back after that, great. Then they don't have to change it. I don't think they will have to change it. But if it's a
Mm,
case where long term he's out, and what I would do, yeah, I would probably change it because
well,
it because Ryan Sessegnon still at the club, right? And you're looking at what
yeah.
can actually be available to him left. Because then now you're looking at a back three what Ben Davies, um, Daya and Romero.
Or Højbjerg, however you want to play it. Unless you don't even go to back five.
Well,
But
that's
I
what I
don't know.
was
I was
saying.
just
I was
toying with
saying.
the idea.
I was saying. I think you'd leave it either way because what it doesn't change is now obviously Van de Ven honestly has been a cheat code for them, right? And also want us to move to Chelsea too, but it doesn't change the fact that their emphasis this season has been to outscore whatever they concede, and that wouldn't change that. And I don't think that Andrew would do anything that would hamper their ability to create chances to score. And I think changing shape might be too big of a change for him, based on what I've seen and everything I've read about Andrew as a coach.
Okay. I mean, if you want to move on, it's okay. Okay.
Um, Anybody have anything else they want to say on Spurs before we move to Chelsea?
Nah.
Cool. Chelsea. Chelsea scored 4 goals, and yet it still feels somewhat underwhelming of the performance. Salik, why is that?
Well, bro, I mean, like you said it there yourself. Our number 9 scored a hat trick, and we still feel underwhelmed. And he also underperformed his XG. So
Yeah.
I mean,
You all
you
had
know, I mean,
4.04 actually.
well, Jackson had 3.69 or something like that XG. So he's according to the metrics, he underperformed or whatever. But I mean, I think it's more about where where is the deficiency in Chelsea right now, because and I think this game is very important for us going forward, because this is the kind of game where you see where the attacking problem is. Because if we can't break down 9 men, we definitely not going to be able to break down 11 men. So when they were trying to play the balls forward and stuff, it was looking difficult. We was getting caught offside. Nobody was looking for anybody to make the runs and stuff like that. So I mean, going forward, once we figure out what the problem is here, and I think it's more about the link between the attack and the midfield more than anything. Once we could sort that out, I think we would be in a much better standing. Like, I personally don't think the midfield had a great showing attacking wise, but defensively we were okay, and defensively we've been okay all season. But again, attacking is the problem. And if we had won like 6-1 or something, I feel like the entire fan base would be a little bit more upbeat. But it says a lot when you win 4-1 and you're still feeling a bit underwhelmed.
I have a question. Do
And
you think it would have been different if you all went 2-1 up at halftime?
mm, I
Because then
I
now
think if we
second
went,
half Spurs would have had to come back out without anything to defend.
well, I
Like
mean,
they
I can't tell you that, because Udogi doesn't get, if that Udogi probably doesn't get sent off if that's the case. But
also
you know,
I don't necessarily agree that I mean I understand why it is you say what you say. Oh, it had to break down 11 men and 9, right? But like I remember listening to one of them ex players and they were saying that how you see at 9 it is kind of simplify to them what to do in the game, if that makes sense. Of to try their best to keep the opposition on. And the way that they were trying to do that was to keep you all in back through a high line and then Vicario sweep. But
no,
honest
even the Vicario sweeping thing, right? He did that about 6 times, and after the first time, you should be like, "Oh, well, we can't wait the pass that heavily because he will get onto the ball,"
yeah.
right? But we did that constantly, and we gave Vicario the opportunity to get the ball, which I think was the entire problem. Because when Jackson's first goal goes in, what do? They play a very perfectly weighted pass for Sterling to get in behind, that no Vicario can't come out because it's way too far out, and he just gives it to Jackson, and that's about it. So it I also think the game management, like from the players, was also a thing, because
Mm-hmm.
Pochettino kept telling them, "What are you all doing?" Like, he
Yeah.
had his hands out, like everything. Like, he kept saying, "What are you all doing? Calm it down. Play the game. We have 2 men advantage." So I feel like the game management for the players is a big thing too. But again, we won the game. This is a big game. It's a huge game in the table and everything. It's a huge game.
Uh,
We won the game. We took 3 points. We scored 4 goals. It is not Luton or Burnley. We scored these 4 goals against, right? It's Spurs, and we had to take every single positive and work on the positives. Forget all the negatives, work on all the positives, and we had to try and make it work from here.
so what's the biggest thing you would carry into call it playing City next, right? Was the biggest thing
Yeah,
you
Jesus.
would carry into that game?
I think the biggest thing I can carry on is that we can score goals, and once we get at them, we could probably beat them. Like, if we if even and look, we were down a goal today. It doesn't matter if they have 10 men or not. We still have to score, and we scored four. Scored four unanswered goals, right? So we have to be confident in our ability to go out there and actually score. And after a game like this against one of the best teams in the league, you had to take the positives. And I think once we carry that forward and we have the confidence in front of goal, we could at least score against City. We might not win, but we could at least score.
Cool. I had I studied this stuff too, they started talking about the one about Cole Palmer. Actually, I find it now.
Oh, the 6 games thing since Eden Hazard, yeah.
Yeah,
So
Cole
he
Palmer
can't
has scored.
I was gonna say, so he can't play against City, right?
No, he can. They signed him.
Yeah, you
He
could,
was
No,
yeah.
they
on loan.
bought him, yeah.
Oh, it was a buy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's first name on the team sheet,
why would he
Daniel.
leave?
Yeah,
Why would
Next
he
week,
leave?
first name on
City?
the team sheet.
Cole
No, I mean
Palmer
for
has
sure. Why would he leave City though? But okay.
Cole Palmer has scored or created a big chance in each of his last 6 Premier League games. The first Chelsea player to do so since Eden Hazard in 2018-19. And I mean, I think that speaks to the impact that he's had. I mean, listeners of this pod now, I was a big fan of him. And he's gone to Chelsea and really done well to take the responsibility. I think he's another one of the growing positives that Chelsea has. Negatives is that I think still at 9 men, Chelsea look capable of conceding. Honestly, I really doesn't know who this filled me with less confidence between Sanchez and Raya at this point. Um, but I can't lie, every time somebody shoot on Sanchez, like, I thought I think the guard score. Like Son chance at the end there, I was fully expecting it to go in the back of the net. Dyer won't obviously scored. So yeah, Virgil, negatives for Chelsea.
Yeah, well, the negatives for that, like what obviously from everything that Brandon mentioned, and when you really look at it, how I view it, it just seems that as I said, the honestly the players made something way more difficult than it had to be, honestly. And it really seems in a scenario like that, as you mentioned, with the nine men will make it a lot more difficult for them. But it then comes down to the players having to understand, okay, the players now having to understand this is a scenario and try to adapt the game to try, break down that 9 men. And now when they go up against a team in Man City that no matter how well you prepare for them, you don't know how that's going to be. And we see many times with City, they will do the multiple passes on the field, have players confused, and you will have no and your game plan from the jump will go out the window. That's honestly like that's why I see a negative for Chelsea, but for us the fan a positive because it seems that not only if you start early, if you get an early goal, but it seems that if you keep that possession and keep them confused and keep them away from executing their plan, it seems that Chelsea literally will have no idea what to do, and it literally seems that for the players, many of them will just be very confused, very like it seems that on the field they still yet to figure out things. I cannot say it's down to Poch. It's down to Poch. It seems that sometimes the players in certain situations, if it doesn't go like how they plan for it to go, they honestly go and just be so they're going to have a big brain fog. And it just so happened that in this after they realize okay, they realize how to stay on side and they realize okay they finally realize how to way they pass and actually score the goal to seal the 3 points. Then that made it look a lot better than it was. But honestly, that Chelsea side made a meal out of that honestly, and I felt like it really shouldn't be so difficult for those Chelsea players to get those goals.
Yeah. As so this is the last thing I want to talk about before we move on. Virgil brought up there that this doesn't really feel like it's on Pot Salic. And last pod, I asked you if you feel like if the problem is bigger than Poch. Because clearly there's plans in play that are working for Chelsea. Game week in and out. Is it bigger than Poch and more recruitment issue?
I still don't think so, because at the end of the day, the player's ability to recognize what is going on in the game also has to do with the manager. Like,
Okay.
Poch can't expect his players to to just listen to him, and that's all they're going to do. They need to be able to think about these things themselves, and I think and I think it's down to him trusting the players to do that, and that in itself is a problem that he has to figure out. That he needs to know which players he can trust to make the right decisions, and also he needs to figure out which players it is that he needs to guide, because every player is different. Like, there's some players could work independently, and some players need to be coached. And I think that is a thing for Poch, because he treats everybody the same way, and there's nothing wrong with that. But some players need to be guided. Like, look at Mudryk, for example, when he came on, right? Mudryk is the fastest player on the field, right? And yet everybody was going down the other side with Sterling and Malagusto and everybody, right? I think that in itself says a lot. Like, that in itself says a lot. So I mean, I still don't think the recruitment is an issue, because, bro, at the end we won 4-1. What are you talking about recruitment for? We literally won the game 4-1. Like, the recruitment is not the issue. There's clearly intrinsic problems within the team that we need to figure out. And once we figure out those things, we will get better. It is not a Poch issue in terms of his coaching, but his man management needs to be a little better, because he can't treat everybody the same way, and he needs to figure out who it is he can treat it in certain ways, and that's what it is.
I doesn't like when you shout at me.
The other
I
thing I
think
want to say,
buff him up, dog. Buff him up. If he talking
the
shit,
other
let
thing
him
I
know.
want to say, the other thing I want to say is, and like, this is going back to our previous point. I personally think this is Spursy, because 4 out of the 5 top teams in the league dropped points this week, and that's inclusive of Spurs. Right? If Spurs won today, they would have leaped Man City. They would have created a 5-point gap between Arsenal and Liverpool, who are the closest to them right now. Right? If you look at it that way, this was a huge missed opportunity for Spurs. Like, this, they could have been in a league with City by themselves until they make a mistake. And that's why I think it's Spursy, because everybody was under the impression that this team is capable of doing it. And when the pressure was highest, when they play any Monday game as well, watching everybody lose, and they still weren't able to get the job done. So that's why I think for this game, I think it was very Spursy.
Very good point, Like, if you put it like that, I could kind of get behind you. I have a question though before we move on, right?
I was gonna ask if you had anything else to say. Anyway.
So, like, with all the VARs, I thought we were gonna talk about VAR now, right? So, like,
That's the next game. That's the next game.
To be
but
fair,
like, it
honestly,
had
this
so
game,
much.
the only one I think they get wrong was that Udogi should have just go one time.
I agree.
Okay. Do you think you think Udogi knows more of a red than Romero? I think Udogi knows clearer than Romero.
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
Oh,
I do.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because him, I think, right?
It was a mistake. And the only reason we're not going to talk about it is because they win and he actually gets sent off in the end. That's the only reason it will get discussed more in the media.
But the Romero one though, right? I understand why it's a red. And if they didn't give red, I would
But it's just unlucky now, like,
I don't know if it's unlucky though, because dog, I feel like it was up for interpretation. Because if you check Romero, right, the ball wasn't just there to be won, it was basically his ball. Like, Enzo wasn't that close to the ball, number one. 2, that didn't look like a tackle to me, that looked like a clearance. I think if you were gonna tackle it, he would have ended up on the ground. Right? To me, it looked like a clearance. And if you're going to clear the ball, have follow through in that. Like, you can't clear a ball without following through the ball. You know what I mean? To me, like, and I didn't, in real time, it looked like a red. But when they slow it down, is when I actually thought, okay, this might not be a red. Because he hit the ball with technique. Like, I think he was clearing the ball.
But
if you see what I'm saying.
Like, he ended up getting a straight red, right? But he was on a yellow either way. You don't think he should have probably still get at least a yellow?
I'm not sure because of that whole double jeopardy rule with the pen too now. Way. You can't give a pen and a card unless even a red card. You see what I'm saying? Because of the double jeopardy thing.
That's how it is work? Wait, I thought.
Yeah, I know if you make an attempt to play the ball, like, they will give a pen and not a card or something like that. Like, they try not to compound the error now.
Exactly, because it's done a pen. So they must only give the pen and the red card if they say like violent conduct or like definite red. So to me, I just think that one was up. Like, I think that one was contentious now. What you all think about that red?
Well, now that you
And
say it
then,
like that, I think it's a little
yeah.
closer.
Yeah, and I want to answer that. That's the only scenario where when you slow it down, you think it don't look like a red. In real time, it look like a red.
Yeah.
So that's the only VAR call that when you slow it
Yeah.
down, you're like I could see where it's technical. It don't look. It look like it look like it could. It is not a red, So that real. Yeah, I said that one was a real.
Yeah.
A real
50-50.
yeah, that's true.
Cool. Any other content just for stuff in this game?
What,
The
today? Dog, it had like 12 VAR reviews. I have a serious question, right? Do they get paid per review? And that is our honest serious question. I don't know. Because
nah.
why did it review so
When the
much? Why
professional
everything
one.
had to be reviewed like that?
Well, I was asking if they got anything else wrong. Because if they get it right, well, then I really think it really matters to discuss the right ones. All we doing them on
Yeah,
the
no.
service, not discussing when they get things right. Not really, because they're just doing their
Not
job.
really.
No.
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 They
Um,
already have video assistants.
um, anything else they got wrong that we think they should have done? Not really.
Today? I don't think so.
Son offside goal was real close. Though. I can't lie. For a
Dog, the
big
angle
chocolate,
was
I thought,
weird too, dog.
yeah, dog.
The second
Uh,
angle, the backwards angle, was offside. The
Yeah.
first angle is onside. And that's
I
just to
But
just
tell
my
you, like,
problem
the
was,
angles is crazy.
but the backwards angle didn't look level, though. Like, the
Yeah.
camera didn't look level. So I don't even know why they didn't show them things. I honestly don't know why
I
they didn't show that.
honestly, I just glad for Chelsea that they had all the angles available to check for offside in this game.
Mm.
That's good for
To check
them.
for oversight.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
great. I would love to have all the angles possible at my disposal when we play games. That being
Hey, you're
said,
sounding like you're segueing into our next part, boy.
yeah, but I was actually gonna talk about Luton Liverpool first. And that being said, yeah, but I don't know what not on God. At the same time, I don't want to talk about this game though, because I genuinely believe I'm gonna get vexed. All right, well, let's go into that. So Arsenal lost 1-0 at Newcastle this weekend, as both North London clubs lost their undefeated streak going this season. And how to say this? I don't bring anybody. This is gonna sound a little self-righteous. I don't bring anybody on our pod whose opinions I don't respect. Um, I make that very clear. And so for these two gentlemen to join me and Virgil, because this is as much Virgil pod as it is mine, it means that I respect what they say a lot, and I promise you all that whatever you all say, even if we don't agree, I will hear it and I will respect it. But I can't lie, there are some things about this weekend that is not going to change in my head. At least I don't think so. If only convinced me, they do a damn good job. But there are things that I felt really aggrieved about. I know there are things that we even benefited from, but rather than watching it as, Arsenal get through with this, but then they lost this, I just so fucking fed up of every week we have these constantly degrading standards of officiating in the Prem, and it just gets worse. And again, this is the reason I was so upset when it happened between Liverpool and Spurs. It wasn't because I had some vested interest in it. It wasn't because that it's Spurs and I was an Arsenal fan and I wanted to see Spurs lose. It had nothing to do with that. In fact, them winning that day probably is better for me because I see Liverpool as more as a threat than I see Spurs. But is that what end meteor is yet to come, especially in this league? And this is now 3 games in a row where in the best light of day, 3 big games rather in a row, where even if you're giving the refs the most benefits of the doubt in some of these things that they have done, it is at the very best questionable. Whether it be Kovacic not going off against City, whether it be the handball against Chelsea, and then now we're gonna get into the stuff from the Arsenal game. But the biggest one is the fact that Bruno didn't get sent off. And those things have material change into what actually transpires in these games. And there have been concerns about Arsenal this season. And I think they're right. In fact, I have them for myself because obviously I want to see us be the best possible team that we could be, right? That we're not scoring the way that we were. We're not as free flowing as that we were. And I think that they have valid reasons to do that. So then right now we are operating at the lower end of what we are capable of then because we're not scoring enough according. Some people, despite us being fourth or fifth highest scorers in the league and stuff like that, right? But our floor beyond that is that so far this season, the only big side that we have not played so far is Liverpool this season. And every single team that we play so far, we go away to Sevilla even. And teams just can't beat us like that. You know? We went to St. James's Park. We hosted Man City at the Etihad. United, who always have some bogey against us, play Spurs even. And nobody could say that they just play us and just have Arsenal persistently on the back foot and that is crumble and that we don't rise to challenges. And you could show me the West Ham even if I honestly couldn't care. But in terms of games that are at the standard to which Arsenal should be competing, because I don't know we had winning Carabao this season. That is not enough for me in terms of if this is a successful season for Arsenal. But in terms of games in which we are asked to rise our level to compete, we do that consistently. But then now when it is that officials don't do what they should be doing and then take games away from you with their inconsistencies and with their changing of perception as to how to officiate things, and then worse yet, when their excuses for things is that, oh, despite the fact that we're $1 billion industry, we can't provide all the angles to check for the calls that we are claiming to be able to get right. Yeah, that's not good enough for me. In this game, the big ones is that Kai Havertz should have get sent off. I can't lie. At first, I didn't think he should have get sent off. I thought the yellow was fair. And I still think even now that, even though I think he should have get sent off, I think the only reason that they were willing to leave him on was the fact that it seemed like he was recklessly diving in, but diving in to block the ball from going rather than trying to tackle the player. However, we could discuss that, right? I am saying here on record, I think it's a red and I think he get away, right? I think it is a red card. But we can discuss that. Why can't we discuss that? Because it involves the ball. It involves playing the ball. It involves two interactions between players who are trying to manipulate where the ball goes. That is what football is. You know what is not football? When it's as a player goes to toe-foot somebody, completely misses, gets up angry, and then runs and hits somebody in the back of their head with a forearm. That is not football. And in the days pre-VAR, not catch that, it would happen. Because we don't have the cameras and referees' eyes can't be everywhere. The ball's so far gone. This is beyond football. This is not football anymore. That's violent conduct. That is the definition as to the laws on the Premier League website as to what violent conduct is. He does that, then goes about the rest of the game, doing that kind of stupidness over and over and over, pushing down men, kicking men, and is nothing. And then the goal happens where they generate 1.06 XG this game, and 0.94 come from that entire sequence, where they did nothing whole game. And then after that, I have to hear Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher talk some bullshit about deserved. What they do in that game to deserve anything out of that game? Nothing. Then that goal happens. The ball look like it's going outside. But we can't tell because they don't have the technology. Oh, shucks, so convenient. Then now, the conversation between VAR officials and the actual officials get released. They saw that Joe Linton hands the ball, but because he wasn't the one who scored it, they leave the goal. Bullshit. Since when that is the rule? I thought hands on the ball in the penalty area is just hands. I guess not. Then now we have a case where a player 2 foot leaves the ground and his 2 hands on the defender's back who's about to clear the ball. A player that we know, whether you like him or not, in him and of himself, he's a fighter and a person. He is going to try to head of that ball. And he's physically stopping him from getting it. But no foul. And then now is the offside call. But then we don't have the technology to be able to see if the ball was really positioned for him to be offside. And then we get a goal. A material change in a game where then now the narrative by a Liverpool supporter and a United supporter is that they deserve something out of that game. When Before that goal, after the goal, they did nothing but deserve. And then the narrative coming out is that Arteta complaining and whatnot and whatnot. When it is now, nobody cared about the bad decisions before because we was winning. But my captain have an injury because Kovacic take out a man angle. He can't play this game. Then we go on and drop points at Stamford Bridge when a man jump, and we don't ever see that given so unless they feel to give it. Inconsistencies again. I don't know this game we go on here. I don't say we deserve to win, but we didn't do anything to deserve to win. But I have two things to say about that. One, even if you don't deserve to win, that does not mean you deserve to lose. And we did not, and we went to St. James's Park. They want to get physical, and we get physical back. Joelinton going off our header with Saliba. He's the one that needed treatment in the end. The other thing is, that goal scored around the 65th minute, something, so right? Oledo had an answer. But when it is Arsenal playing United this season, the score the 65th minute was what? It was 1-1. What was the score the other game? It was 3-1. When Arsenal played Chelsea, what was the score the 65th minute? It was 2-0. What was the score full time? 2-0. When Arsenal played Man City, what was the score the 65th minute? 0-0. What was the score the other game? 1-0. Arsenal have shown between this season and last season to be one of the best teams to score late in games. But the officials, by nothing what Newcastle have done, well, by some of what Newcastle have done, but mostly through the officials allowing what should have been a disallowed goal, has made that job infinitesimally harder. And we have heard from referees, from Mike Dean, one of the most stupid but famous referees out there, that there are times that he does sit on the VAR booth, and depending on where the game taking place and who the home fans is, he will not correct certain calls to put his partner under pressure. How is this any different? Because he don't want to put his partner under pressure at St. James's Park. And I know people don't want to, and in fact, I stopped believing about conspiracy theories about referees, but rather it's just simple thing as bias. They don't want to put their partner under pressure in a tough stadium where St. James's Park against Rochester as it is. And so my feeling coming out of this game, one is that Arteta is fully right to feel everything that he's felt. He has so much flaws as a coach, and I will admit that. I will tell you that Kai have, which I get sent off. But all that does is show that this game was horrendously managed. Alan Shearer said on the Rest of Football this weekend, as a Newcastle fan who came out of this game as a winner, said that referee was too small for this occasion. He could not control that game. He could not handle that game. And that is exactly what transpired. And we're supposed to have this VAR official so that they are not pressured by situations. We at Stokely Park or in some van somewhere. I know I'm going long. But they are away somewhere so that they can make objectively correct decisions. And you have 4 questionable things, 2 of which, or rather 3 of which you can't seem to check. 1 of which you check on, you can't even seem to tell. But then now, we saw last week where Højlund put the smallest touch on Rodri and he going down, and it was a material change to give Manchester City and the Manchester derby a 75% chance of scoring. But yet, we will see 2 hands on a man back with 2 feet off the ground, pushing our player into the ground as not enough to disallow a goal. So, trying to figure out if I anything else to say. If you watch the whole clip of what Bruno G do before he do Jorginho, it makes it look as horrible as it needs it to look for them to send him off. He tried to 2-foot Havertz before he went and hit Jorginho. And he get vexed, and you watch his face. If you watch his face when he going in, it's with aggression, and he going in there, and you don't send him off. Why? So yeah, anybody could go ahead and talk, because I don't see if anything else I'll leave out.
All I other stuff fans say is with all the physicality that was going on from that game. Yeah, I just had no Bruno. I don't know what's going on in Bruno G's head, but he was standing on business. That man, he had some beef with them players. And honestly, from as you're looking from quite early, you literally feel like every time something happened with him, every time all the occasion happened, you keep saying, okay, he lucky to stay on. And he's still taking this and pushing it one step further and fighting everybody. I'm like, wait, boy, this man literally don't care no more. This man stand on business right now. But then you see from all that play out and then coming down to how they go and end up scoring and everything. As much as I don't really want to use teams I don't really like as examples and everything, but for the whole sense, VAR, the whole consistency with VAR be kind of ridiculous at this point. This is very similar to United against Brighton. Remember they go when Rashford ball went out for Hoyland's goal, and they said they went look at the angles and all that. Similar with this case, and their decision was what they said. They said there was no conclusive evidence.
It's inconclusive, yeah.
It was inconclusive. So from just that alone, that honestly just feel like a cop out honestly, and it felt like it honestly feel like from that like why you're not going to see that, you're not going to look at that. Everybody looking at that and say, okay, well, if what we see in here, then don't give it a goal, because you honestly feel like if you give it a goal, that's going to on top of already having so much pressure, already having so much pressure, this is going to add more pressure. So why make that call? Why give the goal and everything?
Virg, and let
Yeah.
me just add up the comments. Team News and Text. He leaked the conversation between VAR and the referee, you know. And their exact words was, "Oh well, look out, but we can't check, so leave it." Well, I say that. Sorry, I paraphrase, huh? But that's what they said, you
Mhm.
know. They also said that it hit Joelinton hand, but we can't call that. Like that can never be. We supposed to be in the best league in the world with the best players and the best coaches, and that is the best they could offer, boy.
So
I'm,
but they were so able to zoom in on Rashford and the ball with Rashford. They was able to get that, was able to see for sure, and then after they end up making a it's like what? It's like I don't know how the system is work. Like it's like 1 minute all they're able to do it, next minute or they're not able to do it, next minute or they can't find the angles, next minute it's like it doesn't make sense. Like at this point, it doesn't matter. Yeah, so for me, I get my good laughs out of it. I can't lie, but at the end of the day, the only thing people are asking for is to be consistent. That's all you have to do. Like it doesn't make sense. One minute you could do it, next minute you can't do it, and then you're saying, okay, everybody got around this mountain, whatever minivan they're in, and everybody come to a conclusion where we have no conclusive evidence for this. So that literally does not make any sense.
and let me say something. I don't think that we were like good attacking wise, but I mean obviously defensively, I think whole season we've been great, right? And in a season where every week somebody new getting injured and somebody new can't build some kind of chemistry with somebody because this one can't play this week and that one can't play next week. We needing games that being close like this, and I know Newcastle had injuries as well, which could also lead to the fact why they and all have were not threatening much in the game as well, right? And these games are gonna be so close and they're gonna be so tight. Then self we need them to get everything 100% as close to 100% correct as possible. And the whole point of them being able to review things over and over and over and to see things that the referee can't see is so that we can get as close to that as possible. Listen, right? We lost to West Ham in midweek. And that was like water off my back. Yes, it's because of the competition I was in, but also because though we didn't deserve to win. We didn't play to win. We didn't deserve to win. And the thing is, I genuinely could live with forget that game. We lost to Lens in the Champions League in the second day. Though we didn't deserve to win. And days that we didn't show up to compete in the way that we should, I could live with it. Because that has been decided by the 22 men on the field. And I know that there are people who like when referees are subjective and this that the other dog. Fuck that shit with me, dog. I don't care. I the 22 men who on the field is who I want deciding games. Not somebody who don't have to face the consequences when they don't get 3 points in a weekend. And that I have said this so much times this week, and I'll say it even on the podcast. I don't think I said it before. I 100% understand if people want Arteta sacked at the end of the season if it is that he does not win a trophy. So therefore, I am competing against a treble winning Man City to win a trophy. And you can't get your decisions correct when you can watch it over 200 billion times. That is not good enough for me. And that is why I so back him being vexed. Because I don't think it's just about this week. It's about this week, it's about last week, it's about week before. Dog, ever since Howard went take over the ship in PGM world, Arsenal had more apologies from the PGM world than anybody else. We lost 5 points in our title race that we lost by 5 points last year via apologies by referees' mistakes. That and when the stakes are so close and you're coming up against a team that is so perfect as Man City that they could afford to sub Haaland at halftime and still win 5-1 or 6-1 or whatever it was. That is the margins we up against. And that is the product we're supposed to be trying to put out. And it don't have to be just about Arsenal. This is why, again, I was so glad when I had the outrage about Liverpool. Because it's not about clubs, it's not about tribalism, it's about wanting to raise the standard of the game that we watch week in, week out. Last week, the man who refereed Wolves game, Wolves against who it was they played last week? Was against Newcastle. Dog, Newcastle getting one shit penalty. Terrible call. You know where that referee was this weekend? He get him out to the championship to make even worse calls down there, mind you. That is the standard that we're dealing with. And that can't be good enough. And then after that, I had to hear these Northern Englishmen come and dominate social media because they dominate the media, they dominate the PGML, and they dominate the FA. They come and run some stupid narrative about how Newcastle wanted it more. What they do to want to win more? Alec, you could say we want this.
Let Daniel go first now. I want to hear what Daniel has to say. I'll go after.
All right, sure. Okay. So, in coming at this thing from our objective point of view, obviously, I don't care about the Premier League. So, I have no stake in the game. I'm going to be objective. I think there were 3 big incidents with that VAR call, right? The official statement that I heard was that the only thing that was inconclusive, this is the official statement that I heard, this is not what I think. The only thing that was inconclusive was they weren't sure if it was offside because they couldn't get a proper view on the ball. Obviously, the ball becomes the offside line in that point because Raya stepped up. So the ball is the offside line. The ball is sandwiched between the 2 players. They can barely see that. They can't see where Gordon's foot is. Inconclusive. And I think that there's no amount of equipment that could ever fix that because the ball has been sandwiched between 2 players. There's literally, I don't know what equipment you have to x-ray the players to see where the ball is. If you see where I'm coming from with this one, right? That's the only piece of inconclusive evidence that I could get behind. Simply because could not see where the ball was, in my opinion. I think that part is out of the hands of all the humans that are deciding the game. Okay, so the offside part, I could live with that personally. Now, let's talk about the second most contentious thing to me, which was, did the ball go out of play? When I looked at it, I do not think that it went out of play. This is the reason why. They showed the angle of when the ball crossed the line as much as it did, right? There was only about an inch of green between the part where the ball is touching the ground and the line, right? If there's only about an inch of green, it clearly says the ball is hanging over the line. Okay, to me, the ball is not out. In the game, the official statement that the commentator said to the fans was, they have decided the ball was in play. Now, whether it leaked afterwards and it was something else, I don't know because I don't know the leak. When John brought it up, that's the first time I heard about the leak. I'm not saying that what he's saying is incorrect. I'm just saying I did not know about the leak. This is what I heard in the game. Now, the last part is the push, right? And that is where I, like, the more that I watch it over, I do think that that VAR get that one wrong because it really did look like a push. Now, the part about, I understand what John's saying about Gabriel is a strong guy going in to compete and whatever. I personally do think that, yes, as strong as Gabriel is, I do think that if you get hands on your back, you're going to fall that way. Because that is the safer thing to do most of the times. So I don't think he was trying to be strong and was overpowered. But I still think it was a bit of a foul.
Right.
A soft foul, I would say, though.
But still a foul
should be a foul.
what? So then, if it is that he not being fouled, then I know you're saying it's a softball. It's not like I'm trying to contest what you say. Then why doesn't he have his
Yeah.
head dead? Because he's positioned well. He is
Because he
positioned,
felt the hand on his back is why I think.
and then it's a
I
foul.
think I think in feeling that, but not necessarily. Now I do think this one was a foul, but there have been times people felt hands on their back and just went to ground, and it was not a
Yeah,
foul.
it's
You
true.
know what I mean? And it goes both ways. It goes attack versus defense, defense versus attack. That is a case where it goes both ways. People feel contact and they go down in the box. That is a human thing. That yeah, it's just that is a player thing. You know, you feel contact, you go down. That is what it is. I still think he got fouled though. So on your side, I still think he got fouled. But and then the handball part, personally, I did not see a handball. But again, the angles are bad. Now, I think that the real problem here lies more in the people running the league rather than the VAR team, because I think that call was extremely contentious. That is a 1 in a million call where it had like 3 or 4 or 5 things that it was checking all at once. The equipment that they have is simply not doing them anything. You see how pixelated the cameras look? Like, I mean, that is a big thing. The slow motion don't look good. Like it framey. The slow motion, it real framey. You can barely really tell what's going on. In real time, it look one way. In slow motion and highly pixelated, it look different. They don't have enough cameras in the stadium to really check. Okay, is the ball hanging over? Okay, they don't have enough cameras for that, right? So they had to go on like experience, which in my experience I don't think it went, but whatever. And then to get the foul, like the last part, the most crucial part in my opinion, is it a foul or is it not a foul? The camera quality is bad. It lagging. They have to zoom in. I think it's more of an issue on equipment than bad refereeing. I could also understand why the ref in real time didn't catch it and give it as a goal, because so much shit was going on. You know what I mean? There have been plenty times that VAR gets stuff wrong, and it was strictly human error, and that is on them. This one, I could understand how the equipment kind of bull them. You know what I mean? So that's my official stance. I do think it was a foul. I think that game should have finished 0-0. I think Havertz should have get sent off. I think Bruno should have get sent off. Just to, caveat those. But I don't think the Havertz thing is a big contentious thing. Neither is the Bruno thing. Because both of them look obvious to me. It should have been 10 versus 10. You know? But I think that game should have finished 0-0. That would have been the just score.
Well,
For
it
my
should have
FPL, it
been.
worked out real good, but I know nobody want to hear that.
Well, it should have been 0-0 after that decision. However, possibly could have happened a moment of brilliance either way. Then fair enough. But after that moment, it should have been 0-0. Like I mean, I
Yeah.
know what you're saying. It's like it deserved that both teams shall leave 0-0. But like from
Oh,
that
after
point,
that shouldn't have been a goal. I will just say that.
yeah,
That shouldn't have been a goal.
yeah.
Whatever happened after happened.
And the one thing I forget to say too, that also irritates me plenty, is that the man who was on VAR is a known Newcastle fan, and I find that real shippiness. Because how it
If
is,
it's a known fan, you shouldn't be governing the game.
and
That is fair as well.
I find that real out of time, because he's the same person who ref the Chelsea Spurs game today as the first official, and he was on VAR, and he's on no dog. I have a picture of the man
That Pawson or something.
in a Newcastle kid dog. Is Pawson? Is his name Salik?
I think it's Pawson that do today. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Salik. Go ahead now.
So the reason I wanted to go last is because I had a feeling that y'all would have said everything that needed to be said, and I agree with nearly everything that all of y'all have said. But I feel like for me, I am looking at this from a very different view, and I have felt very strongly about this for a long time. We have reached a stage where we love football because of the way the game is played, and the one thing we love about football is how quick it is and how many different possibilities there are within the game. In such a game where it is so everything is possible. I think if you told me that we were going to see a goal in the Newcastle Arsenal game where we have three different VAR checks for three different things that are part of the game, I would have tell you, oh please, no way that happens, right? But my greater point is here. Like, listen to this, right? We have goal line technology within the league, right? Yet we can't tell if the ball is out on the same line that is the goal line.
I don't
right?
understand that.
I need to understand how crazy that is for a second, right? The second thing is, and Daniel brought this up, and I have been an advocate of this for a long time. Why don't we have high-speed cameras in football? There is no reason why people that spend £15 in England to watch Sheffield United versus Crystal Palace on a Monday to watch that game, and they can't get high, proper, good cameras to look at these games, right? We still in football, we still don't know when the ball leaves the foot to look at where offside is. Offside is taken from when the ball leaves the foot, right? We still don't have cameras to pick up when that happens, right? And that is another problem. Daniel was talking about the ball is sandwiched between two players, so we can't see it. There is technology for that. In the semi-auto offside, it works because the ball has a frequency emitter inside it, so the cameras can pick up where the ball is. That's why the technology is so advanced, because it caters for these kind of things that we cannot see. And when the game is so fast and the game is played at such a high level, and I've maintained this from before, the only way to keep the game at a high level is if every aspect of the game is at a high level. The refereeing has not kept up with the game, because what VAR and what all this technology has shown us is that everybody, you, me, Daniel, Virgil, the referees, the players, we all don't understand all these intricacies of the game. The game is a complex game. It requires a certain level of technology, of understanding to make the game as perfect as it could be. We should not have to be talking about refereeing decisions in a game where neither team created anything during the game. The game was awful to watch. Neither team had anything going for them. I personally don't think I've seen Newcastle or Arsenal play a worse game in the league this season. And we should be talking about why both teams did not score. We should not be talking about why the ref didn't make a good call. And this goes back, and this is my final point on this. This goes back to the PGMOL taking the stance that they want their refs to look at offside and look at all these decisions when they had the opportunity to take semi-auto offside to remove that element from the game. We need to make sure, and everybody needs to get on board with this, right? I personally have no sympathy for Arteta, by the way, because when this whole Liverpool thing came out, I know you have said it, John, but I have no sympathy for your manager, unfortunately, because he was the one who said, "Oh, the refs make mistakes, and we need to support them." And
That
now
is
that is in his yard.
no, but dog, that part that gets circulated, that was a small part of Wake in a big thing where he said that he
I
felt
watched the
threatened by
entire interview,
Liverpool.
John. I know what he said. He's talking about the PGMOL, and he's talking about how the refs need support, and we cannot be so harsh on them. That is the crux of what he said, right? And all I said is, old company did the same thing. It happened the same thing to him. He backed them, and then he had to go against them. It is if we are all divided on this situation, nothing will change, which is the
No,
whole
I
point
agree.
about it,
I agree.
right? And like we need to get to the point where we have to stop talking about the refs. The refs don't play the game. The footballers play the game, and we continuously every week we talk about bad decisions, and it's because the refs and the PGMOL have taken decisions to make sure that we continue to talk about the refs. And
Yeah.
that is basically what it is. I would love for us to talk about how terrible Newcastle were and how I thought Arsenal had their worst attacking performance of the game, or how Trippier locked down two wingers on both sides, on both wings when he had to move over to the wing. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about arbitrary things that should not be part of the game anymore. We're in 2023. Lampard's goal against Germany happened 13 years ago. And look how we're still talking about today. So that's my a whole takeaway from this game, that the in England, they just don't want to put out the resources to make the game as brilliant as it could be. And
Yeah.
the fault is of the FA, the PGMOL, the Premier League, all
And
of
the
them are at
clubs.
fault for this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Because I think though these clubs should have unified about this a long time, unless there are clubs that feel like they benefited more than others. But if it is that they all actually do feel aggrieved, then this should be a non-starter. I'm gonna say something to continue on that point, but before I forget, the only reason I didn't want to lump in Havertz with Bruno is that yes, both were Reds, but one to me is one where you could accept in the sense that it is a red, but it's something that happens in the game of football or is allowed in the game of football. He missed time a challenge and he hit the man and it's a red.
Miss time, you say.
Yes,
Look really late,
well,
dog.
Miss time, you say.
That was really late, dog. That
Right.
was about as
Yes.
late as Bruno elbow.
Okay. Right. That's my point. He did.
In the air.
Yes, but my point is that he did that in an attempt to try and get the ball. He did it horribly, but he did it in an attempt to get the ball. What Bruno did had zero to do with football. And that is why I don't want to lump the two. Both of them had the same outcome, but what both did to have deserved the same outcome is two very different things to me. And it could have been anybody who do that. It didn't have to be Havertz who, is being super protected right now, or it could have been anybody who had done that. It could have even been a Newcastle player that have done that. That compared to somebody who physically assaulted somebody, it can't be in the same kind of conversation. Even if they both
I
supposed to get
mean,
the same
physical
outcome.
assault.
What
No,
was
they
Well,
both as dangerous.
bro, honestly, John, I would get behind you, but the truth is, their red cards are not just for assault, as you call it, right? Like their
no,
red cards
because
fall under
but
so many things.
right, I agree. But what
And
I'm
and
saying
and
is
and
the
and,
fact that
and
one,
flying into a tackle is not part of the game, bro. Whether you think so or not, flying into a tackle is not part of the game.
no, but the thing
That's not
something
that's not in the
what
I
spirit
think
of
they
the
both
game.
out of pocket. That's the thing. I think they both tackles out of pocket. It's just one happened to the head and one happened to the foot.
no, that
But
is not the
Big
that is
Man
not
thing,
that is not the difference in
John,
sport.
they both
if you
malicious
think
too.
just
They both
because
malicious. They both
if you
malicious
think
as
just
well.
because Havertz did a tackle that it makes it less bad than Bruno, I
No, but
understand what
one
you're
is done.
saying.
Yes,
I
but
don't
one
agree
is
though.
done in the spirit of trying to do
That is
something to
not the
win the
spirit of the game,
ball.
bro. It's not. But
No,
it's
that's
not.
not what
It's
I'm
not.
saying. I'm not saying that.
It's
I'm
not.
saying one is done in the spirit of trying to win the ball. It's a terrible decision to do it, but that is what one
No,
is
it's
done.
not,
What,
bro.
what does what Bruno do have anything to do with football? Anything to do with football
How,
at
how
all?
does leaving the ground going into a tackle like that? Right?
But
How is that in any part of the
if we
game?
be
That's
agree,
not
right?
part of the
He
game.
wasn't trying to tackle him. He was trying to block the ball from going down the line, which again,
John, it's a tackle. It's a tackle on the man. He's standing still. It's not like he was moving. He's standing still. Where else? What else you think was gonna happen? On
okay.
the byline. It's not like he's in the middle of the circle, man. Come on, like both. I understand what you're saying, no, but like you're trying to make it sound as if like Bruno own is worse because it's not part of the game, but Havertz own isn't part of the game either. It's not. It's just not.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of with like I think they both clear reds, but I don't think that I think honestly, dog, it's just because of the way Bruno do it is what have you feeling that type of way, right? Because it look aggressive. But Big Man thing, dog, Everton was I think just as maybe even more dangerous. Like maybe even because like a elbow, I mean not really elbow, like at this part, whatever it's called this, to the back of your head versus a flicking to your ankles. I don't know, like I think what happened is that we've seen tackles like Havertz before, but we never really see somebody just hit your flick and bow,
That's true.
take your head back now way. But
Right, that
in
is
terms
actually
of
my
like
point, though.
danger,
That in itself is my point, though. Is that is something that can transpire in the game and should be refereed accordingly. What
but
Bruno do is
I
that
find they
does
both out of pocket. Like I find they both
I'm
equally
not.
out of pocket. Like
Nah, I don't think they equally out of pocket. I could agree that they both are, but I don't see how the two are equal.
I
Um,
think they
I will agree to disagree with you on that because I don't see it that way.
the other thing I was gonna say though is that what I would love for the clubs to do, but I don't think they ever will, is it's time for I think these clubs, even if it's just the 17 that stay up at the end of our league, that nah, dog, even the promoted teams can pay because they got a chunk load of money when they come up. They'll put money towards
Even
that.
when they go down,
Yeah, put money towards independent regulators for this thing and revamp the whole refereeing and technology process that they have. Revamp everything
ooh,
and let it be independent.
I
And
have a
that
question.
way they could source referees from wherever they want. They could get the best technology, but let it be independent. Because as long as why it is that like I get it, refereeing is terrible, but why is it that it is still allowed for some subjectivity that we have a case where a Newcastle Varane and Newcastle game, bro? That shouldn't be even within the realms of possibilities.
no, but even in international football, right? Like if Argentina play in Brazil, you're not gonna have an Argentinian or Brazilian ref.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Like
it
that,
makes no
those things don't
sense.
happen. Like
Yeah.
that's a standard thing. Like
And,
that should also be standard in the league
and
as
here
well.
was saying, right? Even if we keep an English refs and we keeping them on the field, I trust for the an independent party that pays these men well to draft referees from all over the world long, to be part of just the VAR team even, they will get enough things right that they will force these English refs to do better. If it's by forcing them to go to the monitor enough time in games, whatever it is. Oh, while we on this, Brandon, wait is how the VAR is working in rugby again? They get 3 calls a game or something, so and you have
Well,
to choose when you do
rugby's a
it.
rugby's a little different, but I think like the most important aspect of the rugby thing is the communication that the ref has to the fans
Yeah.
as well as everybody else. Like I don't really agree with the like you have a certain number of things that you could check. I've also heard people say like VAR should have a timer, so if it goes beyond a
I don't
minute
know.
and 30 or 2 minutes, I don't agree with those things either.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
do agree with the communication though, because if you could explain to the fans, right? And I think you have an obligation to explain to the 7,500,000 people that pay their money to come and watch the game. I think you have an obligation to explain to them what it is that really going on.
Yeah.
Like you shouldn't be talking to people in your ear who are 5,000 kilometers away from the game. The people who matter are the players, the managers, and the fans who
Yeah.
are there in the stadium, and they need to be made aware of what is going on. And I heard somebody say the rugby guy who did the final of the Rugby World Cup, right? He retired, right? He's no longer a referee in rugby, right? I heard somebody say that they should bring him into the PGMOL and let him help them get to a new stage, because it obviously will have things from rugby that are good and are bad, and how could we implement them to make everybody's experience way better?
Yeah.
Hey,
Patrick,
I have a question, right?
yeah.
So, like, I'm tinfoil hat. So, we know that the Prem have maybe the most resources out of all the leagues in football, probably more than the Champions League as
Yeah,
the
they do.
tag.
They do. They
Right,
do.
yeah,
They do.
probably more than the Champions League as
Bro,
well,
the
right?
team that finishes 20th in the Premier League gets 6 times more the Champions League when I get to.
Oh, glad. All right, so
I don't think it's 6. I
um,
think it's like 3, but it is they get
It's still
more.
we
relevant.
need a
They
fact
get
check.
more
We
than the
need a fact check then.
we'll get the VAR
Yeah.
on that, bro. But
All right, check it. All right, so what I'm thinking, right, is that while that going on at the same time, and England is not even that big of a country geographically, where they have like just like way more money tied up in logistics and whatever than all the other leagues. England is not much bigger than Spain and probably a lot bigger than Italy. Whatever, I don't care. What I'm trying to say is that they have all this money, but they probably spend like the least amount of like they have invested the least into technology, right? They always last at the table. They were the last league out of the top 5 to adopt VAR. They were the
and goal
last
line
league to adopt
technology.
goal line technology,
Yeah.
Correct.
you know.
Yeah.
Um,
And I
and
genuinely
while
was
it
so
have
disappointed that they did not. Like, I was so shocked when they did not agree to the semi-automated offside in them. And
so what I'm gonna ask, right? Hence the tinfoil hat, which signifies conspiracy. Do you all think that is just like a keeping the money within the circle type of thing that going on, like a serious deep rooted politics that going on, where like if they was to take their friends and stuff and say like, okay, we can't have you all referee these games, we need to bring in new referees, but we obviously realize that they're not gonna be part of the money fund anymore. Also, the more automation that comes in, VAR teams going to drop. You might need a 3-person VAR team anymore. You might just need one. A lot of less people getting paid now with semi-automated. With better cameras, you're looking at. Do you all realize how much longer games are now because of VAR, because of additional time? What do you call it? They give like 8 and 9 minutes
Yeah.
extra
you
now.
mean like the length
Yeah.
of
Games
actual of the game, not the time the ball
from the
and
time the game start to when it end, it used to
Mhm.
be about an hour and
2
50,
hours. Yeah.
but now we're looking at like it is be like 2 hours and a half. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Now think about this, right? Longer time mean
More broadcast rights.
sponsors have to pay
Mhm.
more. Also, you get more broadcast time, all of that. But now all of a sudden, if a sponsor, if who it is the sponsor the other time by it's always be
Udo or
like,
something like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
or some, or I think Timex used to, and Hublot used to sponsor this,
Yeah,
Timex used to sponsor this. Now it's be like, you have progressive insurance. That's how it is in America, at least. It'd be like you have 8 minutes of progressive insurance at a time, so on and so forth. When the game going on for longer, all of a sudden sponsorship deals, the rise. It costs more money. If it was coming in at 1,000, it can be 1,500 now. So all them things is why I thinking politically now, right? The game has been increasing. Things have been happening every season to get the game longer and longer and longer. So I was wondering if it's like a money-making type of thing, right?
I
It
mean,
would make sense to me. Now, I'm not saying that's the full thing, but I just saying it have a lot of supporting
look,
evidence towards it. You know what I mean?
I think it's a money thing. I also think it is a pride thing that they don't want to ever admit that their referees are flawed now, but and they rather triple down on it than to ever admit that they need help, they need assistance, or anything like that. Which is part of why I think they was so hesitant of VAR coming in, because it also would have put a lot of their old friends out of the job. And I think that is more than anything. I think it's a cult is the wrong word, but it is a yeah.
No, go ahead. I just have my hand up.
It is a fraternity then of between the PGML, the FA, and even the broadcasters. And look, whether people like it or not, I want to admit these things or not. The hard facts is that 90, sorry, not 90, it is 66% of the referees come from the same part of England in the north. Right? And these same men then filter across into the PGM world. And because it's literally Howard Webb in charge of the PGM world. And then now these same men dominate Sky Sports and being on these things. So when you think about Sky, who you think about? Tell me what was the first 5 reporters you think about?
I mean, I don't get Sky on my thing, so
If
I
you
don't. I
had to
think
guess, I
Sky
like
is.
You mean like
if you had
you
to
mean like
guess.
Neville and Carragher and all them fellas?
And there's a bunch of men who played for the same team or have associations with the same teams over and over.
yeah.
And these guys are behind the scenes. All them is brethren. Mike Dean went on national television and said that how it have times that he spare his referee from correcting his body decisions on the field because he didn't want his drinking buddy to go train your abuse dog. I
That
think
was in a Chelsea game, by the way.
dog, I think
Well, Mike Dean is also like lacking brain cells, so I don't know if he could speak for everybody.
no,
He
I
probably
think
did
he
that
does.
himself, but I
No,
don't know if
I,
there's
I
all.
genuinely think he does, Patrick. I think these men just
No,
protect
that's
each
what I
other.
said. He does, but you think he speaks for? You think everybody did
Yeah,
that,
I
or just him was doing
honestly,
that?
I think he speaks for all
Yeah,
of
I
them.
would I would
Look,
know that.
as much as for
Okay.
every Chelsea game that I laugh at, that every time Anthony Taylor refereed, dog, and it was us versus them, dog, he screwed over them. So it was clear that our man had a vendetta against Chelsea, dog, all the time.
Right.
And these men are unprofessional and just let their biases seep out into it. Dog, Gary Neville don't have a fucking upright bone in his body. Can't do
You're not
nothing,
upright
dog.
bone.
Dog, he don't
No,
have
I
a
don't know that.
single thing of integrity, dog. And he is no different to the men who sitting down in the FA because he just defend them. And that is where the money, I think it is, isn't it? I think that Howard Webb and them does organize that Jamie Carragher, who lost all backbone that he had, dog, and Gary Neville, them just defend everything that them men does do. How it is that after Liverpool get robbed the way that they get robbed, you come out and say that how, oh, you don't think that Liverpool and them right to question the FA dog. You was a footballer, all right. Sorry, I forget you play for Ferguson United. Well, you benefit from bad cause. I don't mean everybody did. So and then if you really care about the game better, then you would want these men to actually make questions. I think I don't doubt that there's a money part of it. And I genuinely think there's a big part of it too. But I think I even larger part is the fraternity of them, you know. And they just have each other backs for everything. The reason they
See
didn't
that?
want progression is because they wanted to keep their same part. No, you know how much referees retire, Patrick, since VAR come in? A
Well,
lot,
yeah.
you know.
I mean that makes perfect sense. The more automation you have in something, is the less
No,
you depend on the humans.
right. But it's not just that, you know. It's because the older refs, they didn't want to have to deal with themselves getting corrected, you know. That is it, you know. They didn't want to
Okay,
get corrected on the field, dog. Because they're going
that
to
makes sense too.
But
Well,
Can
that's their choice, dog. If they don't want to deal with the working conditions, it is well within their right to leave.
can I jump in on that point because that's
For
basically
sure.
what I wanted to talk about.
yeah.
Like I understand the if you have automation you'll
Can I
lose
just
jobs and
say,
whatever.
dog,
But
we
I
are on 35 minutes and now we talk about two
talk
games.
about two games and we talk mostly about referees by the way. So yeah, but basically I'll keep this short, right? And the when automation comes in, yes, you do lose jobs and whatever. But I think that this is a kind of the type of situation where you need to be completely honest about certain things, right? Like yes, the automation will cause less referees,
Hmm.
but I think that what the FA should do is that those same people that retired, they should create like a division for like football interpretation because everybody has a different view of the game, right?
Right.
And there are many times where things will happen in the game where it's going to be different, and you need to have a because at the end of the day, bro, this is the law, right? There are cases in law where we use that as precedent for other things, right? And if you don't know how things are going to go, that is a case study by itself. So what happened in this Arsenal game should be studied, and we should find out of ways how we can move forward with these things. And it is a pride thing because these fellas don't want to do anything else. Like they don't see themselves as being useful outside of refereeing. And
Mhm.
there's way more things to the game.
And
So I think that could create jobs. But then if you don't look at it that way, it will just take away jobs.
the
For
thing
sure.
is that the honest to God reason as to why I feel that they was against the semi-automated offside too. Why is that these men want to leave room to shape their narratives, and because of the way that look, I totally get it. Why I don't want to believe it or not, because there's some hella conspiracy theories, and it's not that they have they have it all for that
Take my hat
one
if
club.
you want.
Is not that in it. Is that they have outcomes that they would prefer to benefit whoever it is, whether it be that they benefited somebody because again financially benefited, they emotionally invested in somebody or something like that. Offside is one of them things that because they get so close that you leave them up to interpret. Dog, what was it? No, we even touch on United game yet. But dog, all I could say all your part after this because I guess we could just go to United one time. But like, I thought McTominay was really lucky to get that ball called offside in it, honestly. And the thing is, you know what was he wooded? Okay, probably not. But I just thought like honestly, Maguire didn't really obstruct anybody to me. But point being, you know what they described the Maguire offside as? You know what was the word they use?
Uh,
Well,
Interpretive offside.
No, subjective
Subjective,
offside.
sorry.
That's what it was.
Yeah. Like
Subjective offside.
this is my point. It's like if it is that there's a scope where we can describe something that's supposed to be black and white and subjective, then we will always have not forget human error. Stop calling it that. Human bias as to what they want to call things.
I
So,
think the semi-automation offside just seems like a no-brainer to me.
bro, and it
Like
has
bring it
worked
in,
so
make
well. It has worked so well.
everything. And
like it
sometimes
chopped
when
down
you
so much time too. Sorry for
yes,
you, Alison.
yeah, that was it. So when you think about it too, like you realize that one thing, you really wonder what the marketing, like the marketing team behind all this, like what you mentioned, Patrick, like you really feel like they're trying to push something else because you're seeing all these things happen, and this is not the first time. This has been going on for not just the season, last season also, and it's always leaving some big stain. Like football fans even seeing that, and you'll feel that the people who in charge of this and the body, they will look at that like, okay, this is a big, is a stain on our record, so we need to do something to fix it. Not to say it's a short period of time. It's true for a long while. People been asking for them to fix it, and it literally seems that the only time where he was close because it feel like where they had to come out now and their pride was kind of questioned
Hmm.
was when was with the Liverpool Spurs game because then they had to come out now do the whole apology and from all those
Yeah.
things. But you've been seeing from a much smaller scale from offside calls to goals not being allowed to red card calls to fouls. You'll think, okay, you're in charge of this. You're running this. All these negative reviews from fans, this is going to represent all you. And it just seems that right now, them like, you know what? We don't care. Like we honestly don't care because it seems that all this they seem like it have some agenda behind it because people talking about it, people coming out checking it, people checking it, you know. all this thing going on, and for throughout all the seasons, they literally sit down, they went to a round table, and they say, no, we know will make the most sense. Let's add more time to the football game that we're going to get wrong. So we have more room for error. And so that's literally
Dog,
literally
and
what they
they're
call it,
so
an been calling
inconsistent,
thing.
bro.
Like
Dog,
it doesn't make sense.
I
Like
just
it
can't believe that is the thing that they adopt as well, though. Like, of
no,
all the things to adopt, you adopt the flicking deep added time. Like, no one cared about that.
dog,
No one was even calling for that.
they look
Patrick.
at World Cup and say what we want to take from this
They
is the
say,
added
ah,
time. Not
boy,
anything else, too. Not
time. We're going to take the
anything
time.
Dog,
time.
they adapted things that, in my opinion, allows for more space for manipulation. Dog, they have shown this season that they are willing to send a man off for taking 10 seconds to throw in a ball. But dog, I can show you probably 100 instances in the last 3 weeks where somebody take about 20 seconds and they didn't get sent off. Why? Because they know
Yeah, I
Dr.
don't
Scope,
understand that either.
where if they want to, they will. If they feel
I
it
also
to,
find
they
the
will.
asking for card thing. I also find the asking for card thing to be subjective, though,
Yes.
because it does have some serious, like, it's have some real red card looking moments, and I don't see a problem in asking. So if that not red, though,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
honestly don't see a problem
I
in that.
also
No,
don't
it was.
see
Some
how it
men
is.
can't speak English. Some men had to just use a little hand. Some men can't speak English.
I was no, but it had a tackle. The right, the Havertz tackle. 3 Newcastle players got yellow cards from that, you know.
Bro, that had
Bro,
to
Doesn't
be
even
I
make
know,
sense.
Daniel, and listen to this, right? That happened, right? And when the Newcastle goal went in, right?
Yeah,
Like about 5 Arsenal players surround the ref. Not one yellow card was
yeah, it
shown,
was.
but they'll give three yellow cards to the Newcastle players. And you know
Wait a
what's the
minute,
worst
and
part?
it was an actual,
Longstaff,
like, legit
bro,
claim.
Longstaff was one of the players who was carded, and he collected tackle.
Yeah. And then I
Mhm.
think it was
I think
Gordon got one and Joe
And
Linton.
Shah and
Oh,
Shah
Shah,
get
right,
one.
yeah.
Yeah,
Literally
like
just for asking. And dog, to me, that don't make sense. Like, I understand for like a small yellow, if somebody coming, I'm out of you. Then I understand, like, oh god, you've been annoying, I'll just give it to you instead. Cool. But for like red cards, just asking, ref, gonna check that. And you can't yellows for that, dog. Like, come on.
Guys, hear this though. We had 3 games to discuss, and I don't want me to go past 2 hours. Virgil also said he had to leave at 8:30. Mind you, and
Yeah.
it's 9 o'clock. But so
time to speed through these games.
yeah,
Yeah.
we
I
okay.
find the referee thing is an important thing to talk about this. I'm glad we talk
It
about
is.
it.
It is. So we have 18 minutes, so we're gonna go 6 minutes a game. So we have
No,
well,
no, but for me, I said I had to leave, but I could stay in this one when I finish. Like if all is still on, I would jump back in.
yeah, okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool with me.
Next
I love indie content.
we'll do Man United versus Fulham. So I
Oh
don't
well,
know
then
why.
my conspiracy gone there. All right.
I don't know why Sonic, but I just think like he didn't really do nothing to you think that who it was why? Was it Tim Ream that he was contested next
Mhm.
to? You feel
Yep.
he'd have stopped the crosser if he wasn't there?
Bro, so you see the thing is, right? Like my interpretation of that law is that once you so you see if you affect the play, you're offside. That's just I
Right?
firmly
Yeah.
believe that's fair.
Yeah.
Like if Maguire isn't there, Tim Ream doesn't do what he does. This is the same thing that happened
Okay, yeah,
with
pardon.
Bruno's goal against Man City, right? It's the same thing. I personally think it's offside. Like I genuinely believe it's offside. And people can't convince me otherwise. But I mean, again,
no.
is a
Fine.
questionable decision
Yeah.
again.
But outside of that, Bruno scored in the last minute of the game where Leno get a hand stick. And so what we are seeing, guys, is that Bruno Fernandes level is Burnley and Fulham. So that being said, honestly, the game was honestly it was just terrible, dog. Like it was meh. And I sent some of the group today, but it's so far down. I'm not gonna bother trying to find it. But based on expected points, United are actually overperforming, which is insane to think about. How are they
Considering that
overperforming?
they in 8th place.
Yes, they are. That is insane, right? And I just don't necessarily see where the turnaround could come from. Apparently, Casemiro is out for a while, and he won't be coming back anytime
No
soon.
trouble.
Don't know when Shaw will be back. Malacia will be back. Lissandro, they're looking at possibly before the end of the year. Varane is out of contention, and bro, like so much questionable things around United now. Imagine that their starters are men that they actively were trying to push out the club in the summer, guys. Between McTominay and Harry Maguire. Then on the other hand, Rashford went partying for his birthday. Happy birthday to him. He would be 26 because we are the same age and accomplished the same amount in life. We have the same amount of Premier League trophies and same amount of hat tricks. And
You're wrong for that. You're wrong for that. You're wrong for that. VAR. John is out of pocket.
I heard that.
I feel the name of this podcast is going to be VAR out of
Alright.
pocket. Now.
That's all good.
But yeah, and because of that, he was missing in midweek against Newcastle, where Newcastle pumped United. Dog. Like it was insane. Look, I'm not gonna go into it to like open something, but like as much as like obviously he hated the goal against us, I genuinely love Joe Willock, dog, and like you saw everything that he bring to the game in that just that little moment where he rescued the ball and put it back in the box. But yeah, United. And the other thing I was gonna mention is if I had a whole
Wait. We're gonna talk about loving Willock. And we're not gonna speak on the boss name, on Joe Wellington name.
Nah, forget that.
Like he bossed that game.
What?
John, he bossed that game though.
I do
I'm
not
telling
agree.
you.
In the slightest do I not agree.
I didn't expect you to, but
He
dog,
did not. He
you had
tried
to
to test
go back and
people.
just watch it unbiasedly.
No, he tried to test Rice, dog, and could not see his way, bro.
Who gives a hell about a physical battle? I'm saying he bossed the game. He had the best game on the field. Dog, you realize that anywhere that go and check it back, right? Anywhere that Arsenal built momentum, they moved him to that area and the momentum squashed. Just go back and watch the game. That's all I'm saying. His entire role was whatever part of the field Arsenal is having a good time, he goes and Arsenal has to go somewhere else. And it's just that happened all game. Literally all game. Go back and watch it. You'll see for yourself.
He fouled the man and proceeded to the goal squad. I couldn't be bothered about anything else. United, Hoyland, 8 games without a goal now in the Premier League. Or is it 9? I think it's still 8. Is it 8?
I think it's 8.
No, he passed the 007 with City, so I think it's 8 now.
Yeah, I think it's 8. Yeah.
So concerns, guys. Patrick, I don't know if you had a game to watch it. Did you? I remember we was talking about.
No, I did not. I did not watch. I did not watch the game.
But
my thing with United, dog, is that I can't watch them and just not laugh, dog. And it feel bad to watch them and just be such a hater. So sometimes I'll just try my best not to. Cause dog, the memes of Onana, the memes of Maguire, and the rest of the company. I disagree with what you were saying about Bruno having a bad season, though. I think he's been like one of the better players on the.
I was just.
I didn't say like his level is Burnley.
No, that was just clown thing. I obviously.
Oh, okay.
But I need 2 teams that fight the relegation, bro.
Yeah, I think he went quietly having a decent season. Not like up there with Rodri and those guys, but in terms of United, and he's maybe the best player at United right now. But yeah, I'm not qualified to talk about the game. I didn't really watch it. So yeah.
Yeah, anything you want to add? I mean, dog, honestly, I just don't feel like it's how much different to say than what we've been saying. I'll go check to see who they're playing this.
Well, you know what I'm gonna say. Oh wow, they won 1-0 and they scored 1 goal. Holy crap! Who could have thought that? You'd swear people haven't been saying, "Hey, United don't score enough goals, bro." You'd swear people haven't been saying that. Like, bro, it's just. I think we all know what we're getting from United now, and until it changes somehow, that's when everybody's conversation is going to change. Because if United win like 5-0 in the next game or something and Hoyland's got a hat-trick, we'll definitely have something to talk about. But right now, there's nothing new that changing. Like, there's literally nothing for us to talk about. There's no further analysis that we can put because we see the same game every week.
And I mean,
it's the same thing every week.
The thing is, right, they're hosting Luton next, and given how games have gone at Old Trafford this year, they lost to Brighton, they lost to Palace, Wolves went there and dominated them. Obviously City beat them. They're like, I can see anything happening in that game. And with that in mind, Luton went 1-0 up against Liverpool at home this weekend in the Premier League. And I would just like to reiterate my stance of Luton Football Club. I believe in the dream, bro. Some way, by hook or by crook, now they're going and stay up. And look, the honest God truth is, and I'm not saying this in our weekend where they draw that Sheffield won this weekend. But like all the three promoted teams were there to me show the most fight and the most capability of finding a way to keep games close enough that they could scrape a point and scrape 3 points here and there,
Yeah, boy.
and that they'll come out of it somehow.
That's so crazy.
Now don't get
I
me
had
wrong.
hopes for Burnley, and that is so crazy with Luton, dog. I thought Burnley. I didn't think they was going to stay up, right? I think I said everybody that come up was going right back down.
Yeah.
But I thought Burnley was going to be the one that looked good, like lose looking good. That's what I thought. I thought they were going to be our leads, basically. But yeah, turns out they are trash. I don't know what's going on with company. Anyway, let me not even segue there. What I did want to say though is, as we touch on Luton, I hope that when they go back down, that Wolves sign Carlton Morris. He is really good.
Nah,
I think he is Premier League.
But they're not
ready.
going down, bro. I genuinely believe it, though. Like, I don't know who's
Okay.
gonna go down, but I really believe it, though. I really believe somehow they'll stay up, boy. Like, you want to talk about Premier League dreams, bro? Dog, you imagine Luton survive a season in the Premier League,
That's-
bro. Even
yeah.
if they go back
That would be
next
crazy.
year, dog, like that would be insane, dog. You know?
Mhm.
On Liverpool side though, like Liverpool were expected to steamroll this weekend, given that Mohamed Salah was the most captain player this weekend in the Premier League. He did his captains right by no returns, thank Jesus, because I did not captain him. And
Alan all the way.
anybody want to guess? Actually, no. I'm not going to say guess because I'm pretty sure Salik know the answer. Patrick, do you know how much shots Darwin Nunes had this weekend?
I'll go in with 7.
9.
He was close.
He was
He was
close.
close.
That brother had 9 shots. And look,
I watched the game, so
there's the thing.
I remember.
There's the thing with
Yeah.
Darwin, right? Like, bro, he will score some of the most unbelievable goals, and like he's literally a jack in the box.
Yeah,
Like,
because you don't believe he actually scored. That's the only reason why it's unbelievable.
he's such a jack in the box player, bro. Like, you ain't sure what you're going to get from him sometimes. And like, again, I think nothing encapsulates him more than the miss he had in the Europa League against Toulouse, where he dribbles wrong one player, wrongs the keeper, and then hits the post in it. Like,
That is prime El Nino.
like he does
That is what that
everything to
is.
put himself in the right position and then compose in the last minute. I think the most glaring one was the one where I think Salah had a shot and the ball ricocheted to him and the whole goal was begging for him. Completely missed the goal. Then he chung the summer sign and scored. Salik, I know you're probably not gonna like this, but Ross Barkley had a pretty good game. Well, I know you didn't like the man when he was at Chelsea now, but he had a pretty good game. He chung obviously scored, and look, it goes without saying that we stand with Luis Diaz as he goes through his trial time, and he came off the bench and still managed to
for
have
sure.
the minerals, dog,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
to
yeah.
score a really nice header.
Yeah.
And
I was happy that he scored.
can I bring up
Yeah.
something though, guys? And this is now 6 Premier League games that Liverpool have played away from home. Anybody want to just guess? Unless you know, but do you want to guess how much of them they've won?
I go in for 4.
6?
Yep.
They drew against Brighton.
No, don't do that. Guess a number. I'll tell you the number. Have some
Probably
thought.
2. Did it say
That is
2?
very correct. They've only won 2 games away from home so far this season.
Damn, bruh.
And I think that is indicative a little bit of there are flaws in this Liverpool team. Especially in transition, bro. Like, don't get me wrong, Virgil is back to being Virgil. Alisson will always be Alisson. But everything around them, it just is a mixed bag of results as to what you're going to get. You know?
Can I tell you why that is? And I truly believe
go ahead,
this,
yeah.
bro. It's really simple, you know. McAllister is just not a 6.
Yeah.
He's just not a 6.
What was the point at Endo?
And
No, I think they bought Endo and realized he's not good. So
honestly, I think that's
back.
exactly
I
what
don't know.
happened, though. I genuinely think that's what happened.
I don't know if we get a Fabio Carvalho 2.0, but what I can tell you is that McAllister, he's a wonderful player.
But he's not a 6.
But don't ask him to do that.
Yeah.
Just don't. You take away so much from his game. It makes everybody question him when he's not that. Like, and I feel like that is just the whole reason. Like, McAllister is a great player, and he does link the midfield and the defense really well. But Can he do it for 90 minutes? Can he do
No.
it when the
And
backs against the
he
wall, when
can't
they're away
defend
from home?
transitions. Like that's just not him. He's just not him.
Yep.
And
Yeah, and another thing is too, like I also think like, and this might sound real weird, but Liverpool have played some of their worst football away from home.
yep.
Like some of their worst, like the Brighton game for me. Like I remember when we were on the pod last time, I was like, that is everything good and bad about Liverpool in the same game. And I feel it was the same thing about Luton, the same thing about Luton as well.
And-
like that's probably some of the best and worst things about Liverpool as well.
And the thing is, like, I just don't see any reason pre-January for that to change. And let me say the other thing, as much as I know Andre won the Copa Libertadores final this weekend going here, right? And he's highly rated and come out of Brazil as one of the biggest prospects they have along with Moscato, right? Even if Liverpool sign him, you're telling me now that a 6 that we know, and I don't think all are underrated, but I think people underrate the job that Fabinho did for years, and there's a reason why his legs went playing that role. You're gonna drop an 18-year-old into that, like, and expect it to solve everything. I can't get on board with that. At least not for this season. Even if he come mid-season, and maybe the preseason, maybe he's such a prodigy that preseason comes, he get a 6-month trial period, and preseason come and next season he hit the ground running. But I can't. I find that real hard to believe, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know though. I think the way forward is for Liverpool to find a way to work without a 6, because those guys are hard to come by in
Would you
football
drop?
these days.
Would you drop
Not
money
every team
on?
could.
Would you drop money on Paulinho?
Shit. I don't know. For the type of football Liverpool want to play, I'm just not sure. I don't know how he is in transition, you know? So I'm just not sure. I mean, he's very good defensively. Defensively, he's sound.
Yeah, but that's a
But you see
defensive
that
sitter, right? That's
playing on the
defensive
half turn,
transition.
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah.
Playing on the half turn is one I'm not
And
sure about.
90 million too, boy.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
because
don't
they
think
can be
that
about
worth
that.
it. I
Yeah.
don't think that worth it. Just let him go to Bayern. I don't think that worth it.
Yeah.
But if you're going to drop 90 million on a 6,
I don't have
shit, I
anybody
don't
on
even
that,
know
bro.
how it is.
Also, like we also need to be fair to Liverpool as well. Like
Mhm.
they were the constructors of their own demise against Luton. Like Darwin has to score that goal.
Yeah.
Like has to.
Well, I
Like
mean,
I
both of
scored.
them. The one he hit the post on too. I think that was an easy finish as well.
Bro, I could score out my belly button. Like I
Yeah,
even
man.
use it
And
my foot.
I
You know,
could
like I
say
use it my belly
Brandon
button
would
to score
really
that.
score it because I have seen Brandon score goals, bro.
Like, bro, I scored down my belly button. Look,
I've
I
done.
even taken a touch with that. Like, you know,
I
like
like that.
you have to score that. And I saw many people say that how Liverpool took Luton for granted, and I truly believe that because if they didn't take them for granted, they would have run away 7-0 or something.
Yeah.
For
Truthfully,
sure.
I truly believe that because, and you know, like Liverpool, every single time I've seen them play badly is because it's their own fault. It's not
Yeah.
because somebody outplayed them. It's just because they're deficient in certain aspects, and that aspect just blows up on that day, and you just see everything wrong with that aspect of
but
their game.
Salik, I
Okay.
but I think that is part of Liverpool identity now, though. Because
Well, yeah, because they're in a transition. Yeah, like
no,
like
I don't even think it's just transition. I think that outside of Salah and outside of Virgil and outside of Allison and Trent, obviously, everything else in this team is either new parts, inconsistent parts, or growing parts. And so,
well, I mean, there's also the they might not be that good parts.
I don't want,
That's also
but
like
I
a.
don't want when you want to hear this. Yeah. But
Oh, he can hear it from me. You message
but,
me.
but, but, but point is though, is that like this is where I think people took for granted, not Liverpool fans, are definitely not you on the consistency of players like Firmino and Mane constantly in front of goal dog to open the scoring that is not reliant on Salah to be the one to at least split the game open before one of them go and double the lead. You know? Or why not Lum or Henderson or why not to pitch in from midfield and give something. You know? And that is where the reliability of these forwards coming from. Jota hasn't been reliable. We already spoke about Darwin. Luis Diaz, unfortunately, is not part of the action. However, Luis Diaz's goal record for Liverpool is honestly kind of bad. Like I think it's something like 10 goals and 80 something appearances. Like considering you're coming in a spot where the man before that used to rack up 20 goals a season. You know? So I just think it's a tell me what you want to say.
John, you're leaving out a very glaring problem. Like, like what is Gakpo doing right now?
Oh, I thought he was
Like,
injured.
let's not
He
let's
not
not.
injured?
He's came off the bench for the past 2 games, but he hasn't been having a good season now, has he?
Yeah.
And I also think like the last quarter of the season he wasn't very good. So
And thus,
I'm also questioning right now, like, what is his role in the team? Like, where does he fit?
and the next thing is that how Liverpool play now. I'm not saying Salah couldn't score Sunday, but there's no longer in a way it's a funnel chances to Salah anymore. At least I don't
No, he's
find
No,
not
it.
the
the
whole team
creator.
scoring. The whole team has to
No, the
score.
whole team is getting chances, right?
Yes, but
But
they have to
right,
score.
right,
Like,
right,
that's the whole
right.
thing.
But my
Like,
point is they fall into not the person who's the most consistent in front of goal. And are we not allowed to question that as a possible flaw in the system?
I mean, that's clearly tactical though, because
No, it
we've seen
is.
from like coming towards the end of last season to all of this season, Salah is not like the creative hub. I think he's made more chances than Trent, which is weird. But
yeah.
yeah, he's the creative hub now. I think before the season I started when we were talking all this talk, I said he's the one that can get most assists in the league.
Yeah.
He did say that,
Because
yeah.
he's the man making all the chances. It's unfortunate Darwin is robbing him of stats, but it is what it is.
But that's what they paid for, though.
I
Like that's just the
right.
reality of what they have now.
You know what I said this morning though? That if Darwin had the finishing capabilities of like just a slightly
Not
A
above
even
regular
Haaland.
average.
Yeah,
human.
like not even
A
Haaland.
regular
No, I
human.
Just
wasn't even gonna say Haaland.
normal. Like just
A regular human.
If he could have finished of Alvarez level, he would already have more goals than Haaland this season.
because his movement and explosion is insane, bro. And like his
No, it's crazy. Like how much chances he's getting is crazy.
yeah. Cool. Nice. Segueing across to the last team, which is Man City. Honestly, have nothing to add other than the fact that Doku has been
GG.
amazing. And I
Yes.
continue.
GG.
Oh, I can't like that man Gritty is super cleaner. But yeah.
Time out. Yeah, you had to give me this floor, bro. You had to give me this floor.
I don't know.
Bro, can we please, for the life of me, please remove this narrative that wingers on the first season under Pep need a second season? Can we please remove that narrative and we could just talk about the fact that there are some players that just aren't very good
Yeah,
and
but
they aren't very good for the Pep system?
I don't
Like,
think that he's the first
why?
player to
What?
break
Who?
What
that
is?
narrative though.
Like who?
I
Like who?
do, I
I wanna
don't
know who.
think so, bro. I think this is a very cop out analysis. Like, you telling me that every single winger that has played for Pep, of all of them,
Okay, well,
only
their first
Jeremy
season?
Doku was that?
Who has it think clicking their first season under Pep?
Bro, I haven't looked into this, but I am telling you, there's no way that only Jeremy Doku is the one that done it. How is it that he, of all players that Pep has managed, was the only one to figure it out? That blows my mind. And the reason I keep saying this is because I still believe that nobody talks about the fact that Grealish is 100 million and does not play anywhere close to a 50 billion player. And if when he
Ooh.
when he plays, he sticks out. He just sticks out. He's not a bad player or anything, but he just sticks out. It's not the same. In certain games he's great. In certain games he's great. But he can only play on the left. Look at Doku. Doku could play either
That's true.
side. Pep even said that he would try
On
Doku
the
on the
right.
right hand
Yeah,
side.
he
He even
gets it out
said
this
that.
weekend, yeah.
Like, how is it that Doku is the only person? Like, I'm not saying anything about Doku being a bad player, but how is it that it's only him? How? It can't be. It just can't. It just can't.
I'm not sure about it. I've never heard the argument for wingers in their first season struggling. I've heard the argument for players in general in their first season struggling under Pep. I always thought that it was kind of down to like the demands of Pep's system, the intricacies of Pep's system. That it takes time to learn that. But Doku has clicked. I'm not sure though how tactically aware Doku is. No, that's the wrong way to say it. I'm not sure how much tactical responsibilities Doku have. That's what should I say.
Yeah, and I think that is indicative by the fact that the two big games they've had since he signed, he was on the bench for both of them. Or he came off for both of them. But both
But the thing is,
Arsenal
they are
and
using Doku correctly though.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like the team has freed him to do his thing, and he doesn't really have to run back, or he doesn't have to be in perfect positions or anything like that. He's good to go.
And
I
everybody
actually
collected
think
it,
that,
dog.
huh?
I say every defender collected it, dog.
Oh no, for sure. Because 1v1, he might be the best in the league right now. But what I would say though is I think that I do think that Grealish has a more important role than Doku for City. Because when Grealish plays, his role is literally you're not allowed to lose the ball. And that is what he does. And that is not easy considering he is always double and triple teamed. Like my analysis on Grealish was like astounding when I realized how much defenders he's actually have to deal with versus the average winger in the league. Like I was a big Mitoma fan. He's a 1v1 specialist. The team makes it so that he could go 1v1. City makes it so that Doku could go 1v1. But Grealish collects the balls. First of all, almost never in the attacking third, is almost around the half line. And he's always being double teamed. And he always has to come out of that either winning a foul or getting off. Not even just a pass, but the pass that make the most sense so that they don't lose the ball. Because they give the ball to him in some of the worst places, but they just trust him that much. And by him getting out of that is when City are allowed to switch and they're out. I
So
really think that Grealish. Sorry, go ahead.
why I think it is that he affords Doku so much freedom and not Grealish.
Because Doku is a better attacker than Grealish by far. Like 1v1, Doku can eat your food, whereas Grealish probably will eat your food as well. But I don't even think Grealish have the end product of Doku. So I think it's more about profile and about pace too. I would say like Doku is so explosive, and Grealish don't really have it like that. So that's why I think like the roles are different. I don't think it would make sense to give Grealish the freedom of like Sane under Pep. But I could see why Doku could have that because two totally different players. But I would say though that I don't think that City would have won the treble without Grealish last season
No,
due to how much
I'm not saying
responsibilities.
that's definitely not my point. My point is just that Grealish is already an established player. Like
Right.
I feel like people was rarely using that winger first season under Pep thing to diminish how poor he was in his first season.
He was awful.
And it for me, Doku coming into this game has like thrown
Mhm.
every like look at how Pep talks about him. Like he
True.
never spoke about Grealish like that. Like
True. That's
never.
true. That's
So
actually a
Could I
serious
say
point.
too, like, Doku's passing range has really surprised me though. Like,
Yeah.
dog, the Messi goal from Bernardo Silva, though. That pass to put him there, dog. Insane passing, insane, dog. So yeah,
We talking about Doku best in the world.
hey,
Yes.
look, Virgil come back just in
2027
time,
Ballon d'Or.
boy.
Yeah.
ah,
Just come back in just time for Doku, yes?
Tell me, honestly, what his brother do? Anybody see the video of his
Oh,
brother playing futsal?
bro.
That Doku
That
family is
that real
blessed.
disrespectful. That
The
real
Doku
disrespectul,
family
dog.
is blessed.
That real disrespectful, dog. But anyway, tell me about count Doku there, Virgil.
Oh
Please.
yeah. Now, if it's one, because from what I was able to hear so far, I hear all this talk about Grealish, all this basically trying to compare the two.
Yeah, just saying that I was saying that I feel like people was using the wingers under Pep in their first season as a
Yeah.
cop out for Grealish, and I feel like Doku has completely destroyed that narrative for me.
And what you say there is very true because for like fans, that is now where the words that fans were saying kind of come back to bite them because we were saying that for Grealish one, but with Doku now, most people not trying to throw back those words, but when you really think about it, it's like if you always saying this about Grealish before, but how come Doku hitting the ground running? And for me, it's just honestly similar like how Alvarez was. It's two players that they have that they seem like they have no fear. They're willing to take those risks, and that's what the first season. Remember, Grealish himself even said that, and many people saying the Grealish from Aston Villa used to take risks, used to run defenders, used to take those chances because even if he missed one, you know for a fact again. So there were all kind of excuses where the people felt like at Aston Villa, Grealish was the main man, so everything was going through him, so he's getting more chances. But we see Doku now taking chances regardless. He not waiting. He just snatching the chance and going. So it kind of does. It really does affect Grealish in that way. For fans, really are really just hoping that Grealish could take this on, could flip it to something positive. But honestly, for Doku, you're seeing that lack of fear. He really wants. He really wants. He understand. He understands it's a step up. He understands from where he came. From when he came, he wants to basically take the opportunity and run with it. And that's one, and you could see even early in his first game, because don't get me wrong, his debut game, he had those moments, those flashes, but there also moments where he's making slight mistakes. She was obviously trying, obviously he's a very flary player, and he was making those mistakes, but it did not affect him. He kept doing that. He honestly kept, and not only just kept trying new things. He was very attacking. He kept being that. He kept running defenders. He kept causing pressure. So honestly, like, I know for a fact, I just glad is my player. But honestly, from the beginning, I wasn't expecting him to have this big of an impact so early, because I felt it too. I was under the illusion that he needed a season to adapt. But honestly, I feel like Doku really just taking that shot, and I feel like when you have players around them, like even for like Foden and Alvarez, those players around him that they're also like that young and also trying, are also very attacking. You see that working well for him.
Just to interject, the pressure is really on Foden though, because
Oh yeah,
Foden is among that age group, but these
Yep.
men are outclassing him. Like Doku and Alvarez, like literally outclassing him.
Yeah.
John, I know you're a Foden hater, so I understand. Martinelli better, Smith Rowe, all that.
Yeah.
First of all, Martinelli being better is general consensus. Second of all, it's not that I have a problem with when Foden puts up 15 Premier League goals, dog, I will hear all it, right?
The Tylenol coming out when Gabriel is 2015 too, though.
Yeah, but Patrick got a partner that was small boy.
Dog, Patrick have to take that because it's down to Araho for he to score goals. So you want to talk about United
I
not
feel
scoring
enough.
goals?
Feeling
Why
better.
you don't go watch Barca play Brandon? Right? If
You will
talk
see
about-
dubs. Come and watch us play, you will see wins.
So what happened
You know,
with all the
unless
Real?
Bellingham playing. Unless it's flecking this, you will just see wins. That's all you need to know about us.
Dog,
Don't matter who score, we are a passion
hear
team,
this,
dog.
right? Hear this,
We are
right?
a passion team.
Yeah, but hear this, right? But think with Foden is the same thing.
Wait on the flecking Wednesday night lights, okay? Wait on the Wednesday night lights, and you will see all the flecking. That's all you're gonna see. You're just gonna see that. That's all you're gonna see. And maybe some TikTok dances. You know how level this game. That's all you're gonna see.
But,
Wait on Wednesday, dog.
But yes,
When he scored the 6-1.
So yeah, my thing with Foden is the same thing. Let's say it feels like the team is just leaving them behind, and that is my issue. Is that no matter what injury crisis, no matter what problem, no matter what, dog, we will all say that at the very least, Pep is one of, if not the greatest manager of his generation and of all time, and he has never been willing to trust this man with important keys to the team. And I'm not saying what Doku is doing is necessarily important, but he's never tried to make him a part of the team to be that dependent. And if we've noticed something, over the years, Pep has made his squad smaller, Now, players could play many different positions, but it's smaller. And he's trust the same like 8 men to play nearly every game now. Now he'll rotate one in, one out to keep the fitness up. But no, I can bet my bottom dollar by the time the end of the season, come Bernardo Silva start 30 out of 38 games. If KD was fit, same thing. Alvarez on track to do that.
Always there.
Rodri. Right, and that's my point. And for somebody,
Ruben Diaz, them always playing.
and I'll say this again, and I'll say the same thing for Rashford, dog, is that you were supposed to be the greatest talent since Wayne Rooney. I talk about Foden, You're supposed to be the greatest talent since Wayne Rooney. And you know what Rooney was doing at 16? You know what Rooney was doing at 20, at 23? Foden is 23.
Oh, cocaine? Well,
He was getting a hair transplant, actually. But
Turkey doing the transplant.
But
what was he doing
you
at
get
16?
my point now. That
Yeah.
This can't be. No, again, for some, but in an era where Endrick is breaking out, dog, and just get called up for Brazil, and Jude Bellingham is a teenager and dominated for Real Madrid, and Vinicius.
Okay, Bellingham is not human, alright? So he shouldn't be in this talk.
And Vinicius is there, and Haaland is there, and Mbappe is there, and Saka is there, and all these young players are out there.
Hold on now. Hold on now.
Sorry. Pedri is there.
You're so slick.
Sorry.
You're so slick.
Pedri is there. Pedri is there for the 10 games that season he plays. I apologize for not including him. Right?
A good thing.
Right? It can't be good enough for we just get from Foden, dog. It just can't.
Yeah.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
and we can
Nah,
say,
Foden need to step up.
and we can say it is
Yeah.
rotation. It could be whatever it is, dog. If we really believe Pep is who he is, dog, then it have to have reasons that this man doesn't get the other man coming on when they 3-0 up, bro.
Yeah.
That can't be it.
Look, I don't know. I honestly don't know. But I used to shield him
Musiala,
before, but
dog.
now,
Woods. Dog, all
yeah.
these
No,
men,
but
dog.
like, but all of them in different teams now, boy. But now we seeing like men around his age group and slightly younger doing it in City, and I think that kind of concerning for dog. The fact to me, Alvarez is just the most impressive one now, boy. And let me tell you why. I've never seen a striker get moved down to number 8 and still look like as technical as he needs to be. Whenever he gets on the end of chances, he finishes them because he's obviously a striker.
So, like,
But
you would
like
say he
the
played
dead
number 8?
ball,
What's that?
You would say Alvarez played number 8?
I'm playing like City 8. Like,
Yeah,
but
I guess you could say, yeah.
Say what
Nah,
you want to
wouldn't
say
say
that.
it's-
Say what you want to say that. Because I know
No,
we talk about the 2 striker thing already.
his heat map
No,
would
I
never
would-
be. I haven't watched his heat map, but I don't think it's going to be that of a striker. It will
Yeah.
be that of like a
second
City number
striker.
8. They are very high.
I wouldn't be
I don't
surprised if
think.
like his heat map now is similar to that of like Griezmann 2016, 17.
No, sure. Because last season, I remember
Probably.
when I remember when Mahrez was right. I remember that
I
the
gotta
time
try and
where
find it though.
where we dropped Alvarez back to the 8. Because Alvarez really play 8, 10 out wide. It's like honestly, Alvarez is somebody that, and to point out, Alvarez playing positions where Foden should excel in, and he
Because he looking so good.
as his own. That's my only
And
thing.
he's so
That's why
technical
he don't
too.
like.
Like, why is he so technical?
Yeah, boy.
Like the dead balls. The dead balls is what really happened, man. Like, surprise,
Yeah, boy.
because when last have we seen a striker take all the dead ball, take all the set pieces? Strikers don't take set pieces. Kane was trying with free kicks for how long? It couldn't work. He used to take corners, it was bad. Other strikers, the last striker I remember to actually be good at free kicks was Suarez. That's the last
Exactly.
striker I
Yeah.
remember that
Yeah.
could actually be like, if he was taking a free kick, he would actually be like, all right, hold on, this might actually go in. And that is Alvarez right now.
I mean,
I
to be
want- I
fair,
want
Kane
make it-
used
want
to
make-
take free kicks. It's just a question.
Who used to take free kicks?
Kane.
I mean,
It's just a
yeah,
never
he
score.
tried.
It's
He
just a
tried.
No,
never
that's what I said. That's what I said. Like,
Yeah.
Kane's free kicks was pretty bad. Lewandowski took free kicks for thing too. They were bad. You know?
And it really is like for Alvarez, like, and sometimes like in the earlys when he started those set pieces, it's like he just looked like he wasn't even supposed to be there. And now, if we get a corner, if I don't see Alvarez on that corner, I'm not comfortable. I need
Yeah.
Imagine seeing him. I need my striker. Who, if Haaland was there, he had to be in the box. I need my striker on the corner, and I'm the
Yeah.
most comfortable with my striker on the corner.
It's crazy.
Yeah, boy.
Cool. Well, that kind of wraps up everything I wanted to talk about in the Premier League. All I wanted, I wouldn't think about it 12 minutes.
I mean, Madrid dropped points. We could talk about that if you want.
I mean,
Here, let's not, Daniel. Let me ask you a question now. How
Yes, please.
much games has it been since João Felix had a goal contribution?
Too much. Too much. I keep telling John this man not that good, you know. I don't know why John don't like to listen to me. This Felix man is not that good. I'm telling you,
remember-
he looks
bro.
good, but that's it.
Bro, remember when Felix started the season, everyone was like, "Oh my god, he's gonna be so good for Barca." Gets three goal contributions in his like first 3 games.
Yeah.
Everyone's like,
But
"Ooh."
the thing with Felix, dog, is like he always gonna be a good dribbler. That's cool and whatever. He's always going to be a bad finisher. That's just what it is. And in the Champions League and thing, I just can't deal with that. I can't deal with the missing your chances. I need somebody
so for some
better.
reason, I can't get a heat map of Griezmann from 2016, but I have.
You ain't gonna find that just so now.
Yeah, so yeah, you know, fella.
That is Alvarez.
That Alvarez,
Would you say that?
that looks like a 8 for City.
Oh, that looking like a good 10 to me, boy. Jeez.
Well, I mean, that's City's. Okay, City's number 8s are 10s. Okay, yes, that's
No,
yes.
Yeah, no. If I really think of that's on some of what Patrick said, it really is like that.
Yeah.
Okay, Madrid. They didn't lose. They dropped points. Yeah, they did.
They drop points.
They drop
Yes.
points.
And
0-0.
Jude apparently injured his shoulder.
I find that could have happened a week earlier, but that's one thing. Because that happened 1 week earlier, and I looking at top of the table.
Bro, let me tell you, the reason he can't play with that shoulder injury is because he can't spread out the arms so when he score, you know.
Facts. They gotta stop that for Tuesday. They gotta wrap him up. Yeah, so that, and we have painkillers. So when he hit them, it's up and he wrecked.
So Kane scored
Upright.
3 in the
Oh,
Classical.
Lord.
Yeah.
But you know what's the thing, right? Given that is Leverkusen, they're up against the season, the Classical just don't feel like anything to me. That's just me though. I don't know about all that.
Kane has been really good in the league though. I'm pretty sure he's going to battle against Leverkusen. No, what he going to? You have to. And you say Leverkusen coming up this weekend?
No.
That's not what you just said.
No.
You didn't just say Kane have to play Leverkusen this weekend.
No, I didn't say that.
Wait.
They play Leverkusen already.
So what you say about Leverkusen? So what you say about them?
I said it was good
No,
against everybody except Leverkusen.
Oh, it's good against everybody except Leverkusen. Oh, okay.
Then he also scored against Leverkusen.
Yeah, we
no?
play real shit.
Yeah.
And he
Still scored,
and
bro.
he missed a sitter.
But he do what he's supposed to do though.
They draw,
Yeah.
okay, at home. And
Did they draw? Yeah, they didn't lose the game, yeah. So, I mean, that's fair.
Okay.
But I mean, dog, we've all watched the Champions League, right? I mean, we see what going on with Dortmund in the Champions League. We all thought it was a miracle that they went to St. James and get a point. Like, nobody come out to that game. Nobody went into that game with Bayern and Dortmund and was expecting anything. You know?
True. But another trick though, you have to give the man the flowers, man.
No. I ain't taking it away. And in fact, that is his second hat trick in 2 weeks. And that's the third time he scored 3 goals in a game. Apparently, the other one didn't.
That's the first hat trick that count.
No, last week.
This is the first hat trick that count.
Last week one was in a row.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, last week one was in a row. The first
so then this is like his third hat trick then.
Yeah, look at Germany have proper hat tricks and thing though. Them is a serious league.
Anything else, why?
Yeah.
Anything on the Champions League tomorrow, boy. That's some serious games tomorrow.
Well, we should do a pod on Tuesday, dog, so we can talk about the Champions League tomorrow and Tuesday and Wednesday.
We can, you know, and we can post some on YouTube. I don't mind.
But
I find so because Barca have a good game. Bayern probably gonna lose because you know they didn't look so good last time and thing either. And I want Milan. I honestly really hoping that Milan mash up
PSG.
I really hope they mash up Mbappe.
Patrick,
forget that project.
Prophecy of PSG coming third in the group stage.
Wait,
That's all I live for right now, you know. That's all I live for right now.
You watch Barca game this weekend?
No, I was sleeping. I'll watch it before tomorrow though.
I have heard. Listen, right? I have a keeper. I have 0 faith in, and I've been looking around to like see like prospects around Europe now, and like his numbers look really good and his metrics look really good, and I wanted to know if you had noticed anybody Alex Ramiro now, the guy in goal for Real Sociedad, because
no, I know about him though.
Like,
he is good. He is really good.
Just like I asked Salik this today, but dog Salik does choose to be my friend sometimes. So like dog in Europe right now, it genuinely have a lack of crop of top goalkeepers or like this.
Oh, you did ask that. Yes,
like
true.
4
That's
or
true.
5, and then after that is like God knows what dog. I like even in that 4 or 5.
Wait, who's your 5? Wait. Who's your 5? I think I have more than 5. Who's your 5?
The second quarter, Allison, Edison, and Mainan. But then Mainan always injured.
Okay, hold on. Okay, right. Fair enough. I think it have more than that though. I think Jan Sommer is in there. Jan Sommer is in there.
Yeah, I could probably put him there.
Yeah. I can't lie though. I just don't like. Don't get me wrong. I
just don't like him, boy.
I really like him, boy, but especially more so now when I have a keeper who's 5'11", I fed up. I fed up. And yeah,
he's not that short though. He's like 6'2".
He's 5'11". He's 5'11".
Jan Sommer is 5'11".
No, we can't erase them Gladbach days, boy. It was too much time for them Gladbach days where you got lesser than too much. I cannot erase that.
I don't know. To me, I didn't watch him at Gladbach, right? But I thought he was decent at Bayern. I think he's always phenomenal for Switzerland.
He's 6 feet.
6 foot? Yeah, I mean, that's pretty close to 5'11". But
nah, dog.
He's 5'12". He's 5'12".
Okay,
like
yes.
No joke, as a bit of up my keeper, I prefer them to be at least 6'2" and up, dog.
Is Donnarumma still in the competition? Is he still good, or are we writing him off?
We still pretend Donnarumma good.
I mean, he's good. He mightn't be like one of the top 5, but he's good.
I think like
he
when
honestly
I
fall down. He fall down
yeah
to
dog,
average. I feel like
like
he young, so he have time to build back that reputation. But yeah, he real
like
average, bro.
genuinely dog, when I watch him other five and then I
Okay,
watch
so
him
what
like
about Oblak? We could put Oblak in the conversation, or
well,
we don't want to, because I think he's having a good season.
But Oblak's still keeping the season, right?
yeah he
Yeah, yeah,
is.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
yeah.
I feel like Oblak had like a huge dip though, and like he's
He had a dip,
on the
yeah.
rise again.
But he
Mhm.
coming back up.
Like
Yeah,
a
yeah,
huge dip, like a huge
yeah.
dip.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
he went from like top 3 keepers in the world to like
Remember, he had a big
probably a
injury though.
top 25 keepers
You
in the
know
world.
who
Last
had
season was his first season back from a big injury.
you know who
Yeah,
had
yeah, that's true.
a real good season last year, but I do not trust him
I mean,
because
Courtois is still
oh
available.
my
Oh,
god,
sorry.
I do not trust any defensive assets whatsoever from Dortmund. It's Kobel though. Kobel had a real good season
Oh yeah,
last year.
Cobalt,
Though.
yeah, for
Oh
real.
yeah,
But I
yeah.
big man thing dog. I don't
Yeah.
even I can't G dog. I only because he in Pep system dog that I don't trust that man anywhere else. I on God I don't trust nothing defensive coming out of Dortmund dog. They always adopt that gene. Dog last year we all well, I don't know if we all, but I think me and Salik did watch the Dortmund Bayern game that was late in the season because it was close for the title. Dog, oh boy, let the ball slip on. He had 5 minutes into the game. I
Mhm.
didn't
Yeah,
dog, I would want
Nah,
to
that was crazy. I
kill
watched that game
myself.
too.
Yeah,
yeah.
That was
dog.
crazy.
Like I don't know, but I just
Nah, that was actually retarded, dog. Like that was borderline
and the thing is
mental
right.
breakdown
I
type of.
Summer is I think someone's like 34, 35 now. Which I mean dog keepers though go by the same age curve as everybody else. I just try to think of men that could be bought. And honestly, the only person out there that I feel like you can guarantee the product of is
Mhm.
Mainan. And he is just
Yeah.
never like how it is you
Yeah.
with a whole game that did nothing against Newcastle and get injured. Like that would fret
Yeah.
my soul. How is that even
Yeah, bro.
possible?
Now you could try your hand with Ramiro. Ramiro is pretty good, dog. And I've been watching all their games in the Champions League because I
Dog.
don't really watch them in the league like
Yeah.
that. But they have been
They top of their
aesthetically.
group.
Dog, that Bias Mendes guy too, dog.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
goodness.
I know you've been
He
talking about it.
is
I like
good.
Kubo been doing really
Yeah.
well too, dog.
Mhm.
So
If you really want a good keeper, you have to go to like the bottom of the table in Italy. I will find somebody.
dog,
Just take someone from Monza or something like that.
That's kind of shit.
again,
That's
this
true.
is where props had to
That's
go.
true.
Vicario,
Spurs forget
dog,
Vicario,
where
dog.
he come
Like
from?
Yeah,
Empoli.
where he come
Like
from?
dog.
Vicario was from
Empoli.
what's that team
Cagliari or
boy?
something?
Is
Is
Empoli.
it?
No boy.
Is Empoli.
Empoli, correct.
Empoli? Okay.
Empoli, yeah.
Right. See, go to the middle / bottom of the table in
It's have
Italy.
a man in Italy called Di
Pick and choose
Gregorio.
and just get
Me
some.
and mine, you know.
Di Gregorio.
Yeah.
That's serious name, you know.
Yeah.
What about this fella from Feyenoord boy?
Fine enough.
Bailo,
Yeah.
yeah.
It
I
was
like
not
that.
Bulka who just went play of the
Bulka,
month.
who's that?
He just went play of the month for Nice. And Nice have not conceded a goal since mid-September. You know? That is an insane stat.
Hey, wait, isn't Nice run by Sir Jim Ratcliffe?
So you say the United to the
What is
wrong.
that? Wait, what?
So you say the United to the wrong is impending then.
All I had to say is, yeah, called the here in your top 5 goalkeepers.
I really did.
All I had to
That
say.
was
We went for
And he
active,
actually
active.
available.
Not sweaters, not sweaters. We went for
He
active.
actually available on the market though.
oh, there's still no way, you know, to be fair. But God alone.
Well, he injured. If we win, I call Neuer, we put in Courtois then. If we talk about Neuer, we talk about Courtois.
Yeah, that's
It's only fair.
Yeah, he said quarter, he
Let's
said
say
quarter.
Courtois.
Oh, yes, I Courtois?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then, yeah. Neuer isn't there, I would say.
All right, guys. So that is at 2.5 hours. I feel we can cut it there. We hope you guys enjoy. If you
I
made
good
it
thing.
this far, we really love all you, boy. And
Yeah.
well, these guys are split.
This will be split into 3 parts.
No, it would not. It is not. It is not. This is going out as is.
I like that. Send him out. Don't even filter it.
If
No bleep, no nothing.
I was thinking if we do something Tuesday, it don't have to be a pod. I didn't mind doing a space or a live or something, but I don't mind doing the pod as well. That is all that is.
Do our space now, man.
We can do it
Do our
just for
space now.
Champions League. That is no problem. And yeah,
Yeah.
cool. Thank you guys for coming on. Thank you guys for everything you contributed. And yeah,
Right.
we'll catch you guys next time. See you soon. Take it easy. Later.